Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Well. Hello, everyone. We're here for a very special episode 434 of the Massenomics podcast. Of course, it is the Lift Hard, Live Easy Classic Part 2 hangover episode, where we're all hungover from the Lift Hard, Live Easy Classic.
That 4-day hangover.
Yeah, we crawled out of it. We lived to see the other side, and now we're going to live to tell the tale. Mm-hmm. My name is Tanner.
And my name is Tommy.
And do you still, even after the weekend like this, do you still like quarterbacks eating dirt?
I still do.
Like, have your thoughts changed at all?
We're just 1 week closer to them eating dirt. Just around the corner here.
Thank God, huh?
Yeah, when does football season start? Is it end of August, first week of September?
Yeah, I think it's like 10 and a half months long now. So
I know. It's just pretty soon it will just be a full year cycle.
Yeah, yes. This episode is brought to us by our good friends over at Build Fast Formula Supplements. You can check them out at buildfastformula.com. That's where they've got their full line of supplements. Just on this very meat weekend, I hit the 50-50 combo. I mixed it in my Build Fast Formula shaker cup before I even went that Saturday morning. I did 1 scoop of Vaso Blitz, 1 scoop of Full Blitz, and then I saved it for the afternoon prior to the Strongman event.
You mixed it, but you didn't drink it until the afternoon?
I didn't mix it. I just put what I did is just put the powders. I put the powders in the shaker cup.
That's what I did as well.
Added water later that day. Mm-hmm. And I did. Did you do the scoop of each?
You know it.
Yep. So that's 2 products we like: the Vaso Blitz, the Full Blitz, and then of course the 80/20 protein powder. You can get free shipping on all orders over $100. And if you use discount code Massenomics, you can save 10%. It's buildfastformula.com. And they did have their booth there this weekend, so we'll touch more on that as we go through this week's episode.
I was pretty sad. I picked up a package of 80/20 from them. Very happy to have that back in my possession. And dumb call on my part. For some reason, I believe I set it at the booth when my duffel bag was probably 30 feet away. I could have just walked over and set it there. No idea why I did that. And it got lost in the commotion. So the first thing I did when I got home was order another bag of 80/20.
I about need to order a bag because I'm down to 1 flavor, and I like to mix and match. Yeah, I like to have 2 flavors so I can.
I never said the story. Now that I've been on the 80/20 train for a while, it's been so long since I've taken protein powder. I'm not lying, like years. I do not remember to take the stuff. I'm so bad at it. Yeah. And so now that I've been on the 80/20 kick for a little bit, I've been super consistent with it, and I like it. But what I was doing at first is, because it's been so long, I don't even have any shaker cups, so I was just pouring it in a cup with water and using a fork to mix it up. And let me tell you, even at its very best mixing, it is incredibly poorly mixed. And it was one day, probably 2 weeks ago, I got a shaker cup, and it was actually mind-blowing how well that mixed it up compared to a fork.
Oh, yeah. Big Minnie says that he saw the bag sitting there at our table, so I'm guessing he stole it.
Damn it,
just by the looks of that guy, I bet he stole it, honestly. Mm-hmm. I've seen that guy in action before. He didn't have anything going on this weekend. He had nothing but time but start taking things that he had his eye on, so I would watch that guy. And he's really nimble and sneaky too. Like you can barely spot that guy moving around.
Slinking around. You just can't pin him down. All right. This episode is also brought to you by Barefoot shoes, and I'm holding something here, Tanner. This is the low top canvas black Ursus with the gum sole, and I freaking love this shoe.
I know all about that shoe because I've got a pair too that I've been wearing every single day since the Lift Hard, Live Easy Classic.
This is, I believe for you too, this is our first pair of low tops from them, isn't it?
Yep.
Man, this is, I still do like wearing the high tops in the gym, but this This is the shoe right here. This thing is freaking amazing. I love it.
I've been wearing it. Yeah, I normally wear the Bruin to work.
Oh, to work. Oh, yeah.
Because it kind of fits. It fits the vibe and the aesthetic of my office.
Mm-hmm.
And but
with
I've
all the
been wearing
leather-bound
this.
books and everything.
Yeah. I've been wearing that same exact shoe you've got, and the Bruin is comfortable, especially in comparison to other boots that I wear to work at.
But it also is. You said the keyword there. It is also a boot.
Right. When I wear this, I'm like, wow, I am just like lounging around at work now. It feels like where I'm like,
this is just like a formality of not being a slipper, essentially, at this point.
yeah, pretty sweet.
Oh.
I always liked the gum sole.
I think the gum sole adds just a little something extra, so it's not totally blacked out. I actually saw Grant got a pair first, and he walked over, and I'm like, damn, are those the Ursus low top with the gum sole? He's like, yes, they're sweet, aren't they? And I said, yes, they are. So I had to go find a pair for myself, and they do not disappoint. I've been wearing them a ton. I love these things. So if you would like to get a pair of Barefoot shoes, the Ursus maybe low top with a gum sole for yourself, head on over to barefoot.store. While you're there, make sure to use code Massenomics, and you can save 10% on your next order. That's barefoot.store. Code Massenomics will save you 10%. Oh, and one thing to note for me. So this is my 4th pair of Barefoot shoes now. I'm an 11 in all of the shoes. For this one, the canvas, I'm an 11.5. So I don't know. They did say that the canvas can fit a little tighter. You know, that suede does stretch more. So they said that's not uncommon. But if someone's hearing the sales pitch now and saying, I got to get on that action, I did have to go up a half size. Something to little FYI.
And I did not. If that helps you any, I wore the exact same size.
So 50-50 there.
I feel like my these ones feel slightly larger than my same size canvas ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
you mean suede ones?
Yeah, that these ones feel like even like more roomy to me.
Interesting.
If that helps anyone make their decision.
Yep, we just made it really complicated for everyone.
It's like the crew talking about shirt sizing, what they like and prefer. It's like, yes, everyone has a different opinion, don't they?
They sure do.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow. If I had one word to describe this weekend, I would say wow.
I just sat down here before we started podcasting. It just dawned on me I have not even done a meet recap post on Instagram, like showing my lifts. That's just how just catch up. My brain is still playing here.
Yep. So basically, wow is what I hear you saying.
That is what I'm saying.
Wow. Big wow. Big wow.
Big wow, guys.
It was a really nice weekend.
Yes, it was. Nice. If we were to simplify this, we're going to say it was nice.
People say nice, like if you're talking about like a good football player, you're like, oh yeah, he's nice. No, that's like something people say now, like, oh yeah, he's nice. I'm like, wow, I'm glad nice is now a word that it's like cool to call someone nice.
Yeah, it still seems kind of weird, but
yes, that's a thing though. When I like the NBA stuff I keep up on, he's like, oh yeah, that player's nice.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like the stupidest thing that I've ever heard.
Yeah.
The way people are using it.
It all goes full circle, right?
It does go full circle. It really does. It's like we ran out of other words. We're just back to nice.
Back to the beginning.
But it means more than just nice used to.
Better than it was the first time.
Yeah. So should we give the full run? Are we going to give the rundown?
I think so. This might be abridged a little bit because we do have, I don't want to totally spoil the surprise, but we do have like a 30-minute recap YouTube video coming out. Should be tomorrow. Yeah.
It is already out as this comes out. Yes,
it is already out. It's just, as you can imagine, when you have a 30-minute video, that means you're watching a ton of footage to get it down to that. And thankfully for us, competing on meet day, like I got enough going on. I didn't film like anything at the Odie at the arena, but Grant had us covered, and he had a ton of footage that I had to go through too. So it was just a lot of footage to go through. But the edit, man, when I was going back through it, you just forget. There's so many things that happen, you forget about so much of it, and the number of times where I was laughing out loud just seeing clips, it's good. So make sure you go make sure you go and watch that video.
So we'll have that video. We also will have a full meet recap video from the two of us too, where we go into our meet day
Deep
competing
technical
like
analysis.
in detail. So we'll probably, we'll talk about that tonight also, but like some of that will be
covered in a
abbreviated
second
compared
video.
to what you'll see there too. Yeah.
We don't need this to be a 4-hour
There'll be more
episode.
detail on this in YouTube format in some of this. And then there also should probably be an additional like highlight video.
Actually there probably will be. So yeah, there's a good chance there will be 3 more videos coming
right.
in the near
So everyone's
future.
going to get the full Monty on
with
the
it
lift
again
of the
and
VZ Classic
again and
weekend.
again. But for me, the weekend started driving to Aberdeen. We got there on
Wednesday.
Oh, I was like, I actually lost track of my days already. Yes, I left Wednesday morning, got there Wednesday afternoon, and was the first thing we did we go film the Welcome to Aberdeen video?
Yeah, we filmed the Welcome to Aberdeen video that then came out on Thursday. So that, as of right now, is the most recent YouTube video outside of the podcast that we've posted is the Welcome to Aberdeen. And we did try to mix that up a little bit from last year. You know, we did mostly different spots and did some new things and
Cruising in
similar
the 69
format,
Chevy.
similar vibe. But yeah, similar vibe, but mixed it up a little bit to make it its own thing, I think, for 2024.
Yep, and that was a fun.
And that
one
was
to
a
do.
fun
Yeah, it was
video.
fun. That's pretty low effort for the most part. We just show up and we're like, "What are we gonna say?" I don't know. Point the camera at me and you spit something out.
Yeah.
And it tends to work pretty good. So we
take very few takes on mostly all of those.
Yep.
Usually, on average, like 1 or 1.1, because occasionally we have to.
We'll say
reshoot
something like, "Oh, I should have said that. Actually, let me redo that." And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
So that was basically our Wednesday, right? We didn't really do anything else on Wednesday, did we?
We unloaded the booth stuff.
Oh, that was It was Wednesday. Okay, yeah. So we did a little bit of the booth setup then, didn't we?
We actually set up the booth
Was it
almost
the whole thing?
almost completely.
Besides the tables?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I already had the trailer completely loaded of all the booth stuff, and we took that there and we set up a lot of the booth on Wednesday. Then
Which
too.
was a good move, getting that done early, made life just one less thing to worry about. And we can set up the booth pretty fast now. It's our brains for the most part.
Kind of, but it still is only so fast.
I mean, yes, it's like when I say kind of fast, I mean, like, I don't know, what did it take? An hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And we don't have to think very hard about it. We're kind of in autopilot.
No, right.
It's just
not a big mental
some little
exercise
tedious
anymore.
things,
No,
just
right,
getting the backdrop set up and putting all the shirts on hangers and putting everything on the shelves. And but no surprises there. That went smooth. And that really was it for Wednesday then, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that was.
Okay. So then we
didn't like go out like for a Wednesday evening thing or anything like that, right?
We did not. No.
But it was not early, I don't think, by the time we got done.
I think I went to my buddy's house where I was staying. I don't think I got there until like 7:00 that night or something, 6:30.
And Wednesday before you got here, I was prepping my yard. I was like doing the last mow and starting to get tables and chairs like not out, but like get things down and ready and moved in, and so that way on Friday it could be ready.
Yeah.
So it was actually like I basically spent like 14 hours that day working on Massenomics. Like that might be a conservative estimate.
Yeah, it sort of did end up being a full day, but yeah, as far as some of the other craziness, it was a relatively low key day in the scheme of some of the things. Thursday, though, was the first official day of like really, really moving stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, so Thursday, that's when we knew Dave was coming to start unloading his stuff, and Jake was going to be there to start helping move. And so Thursday morning, I can't even remember. What did we do? We went to the Odie. We were at the Odie early at like 7:30 or 8 or something like that to let Dave in, and to Dave was already there. He had just pulled in before me when I got there.
Yep. So we got there right away. We just kind of, just talked through a couple things with them really quick, but it was
mostly he backed in, and it was like
they were unloading right away. Yeah,
he was there. There's a few helpers that showed up, and then by 9 a.m. that's when we were meeting people at the gym to start unloading the gym equipment onto a flatbed trailer.
And it was us two, and at first was there two? It was Megan and was Anthony helping right away?
Yeah.
So there's 4 of us. Which there was a lot of strength co plates and a lot of calibrated plates that had to go up those stairs, which that was, I was a little nervous because not like I can't handle it, but you just get worried meet week moving all that stuff. Like, am I going to put some extra fatigue in my hands, my grip, whatever?
It's a lot of stuff.
Well, it's a lot of trips because how many pairs of 45s was it?
30
pairs of 45s and then the full kilo set, which
450 kilogram kilo set, and 12 barbells that I would just say, generally speaking, the setup we had this year going to the 2 platform and also the addition of Strongman, this is obviously kind of intuitive, but there was so much more equipment to move than last year when we had.
We didn't move barely anything last year. I mean, what was it? Some bars?
Well, I still took 30 pairs of 45s.
Oh, you did?
And because I still outfitted 3 racks in the warm up room. So I still did move 30 pairs of 45s and all the change plates that go along with it. But half as many bars and then no kilo plates last year.
Yeah.
And
none of these Strongman stuff.
Take apart the Ghost combo rack and take that both years. Yeah, the Strongman stuff was an entire second car trailer load.
Because we got done. So the first load was we tried to get all the powerlifting stuff, which, like you said, was all the weights, the bars, the combo rack. And like we got done with that. I'm like, we got to the arena, we unloaded it. It was like, you know what? That was quite a bit of work. I'm glad that's done. It's like, well, but it's actually really only half done because then we went to go with the Strongman stuff,
which is the shield, sandbags, multiple sandbags for warming up. The Atlas stones is the big one, but then it's also like Atlas a ton of crash pads.
Yeah, the crash pads weren't too bad. It's those
the
Atlas
2
stones
yokes.
up and down the stairs are just tedious because we have this net system where each person takes a corner. I can't remember who said it. They're like, it's like we're moving the Ark of the Covenant, and that's what it was.
Yes.
We all have a corner with this stone in the middle, and it's not overly heavy, but it's just kind of annoying, and you're going upstairs. Yeah, that took a long time.
It sucks.
It does.
Really, like it does. It sucks, and you pretty much need 4 people to do that job too.
And luckily,
I've done it before with 2, but
which,
I've done it with just 2 people before, but it sucks.
I would not want to be part of that with 2 people.
No, it sucks. And I mean, I was tired by the time we got equipment.
So this is where my anxiety was ramping up a little bit because Juggernaut wants you to do, for me at least, a really light lift on Wednesday and Friday. And I had to scratch both of those because I'm like, I've been on my feet moving nonstop, carrying this stuff. I'm so sweaty. I'm so tired. I'm not actually sure. All I'm going to do is get under the weight and think this feels so heavy that I think mentally it would have been a lose. And so I had to scratch those, but also that wasn't the best feeling either.
Yeah, that moving that equipment's way more intense of a workout than the little bit of a workout that has.
Especially when you've been doing a peak where you're like basically hitting singles and doubles for the last couple of weeks. I mean, that was a lot of volume, you could say, all that moving around.
So then the whole time Dave is setting up, the whole time while we're doing this, he's getting his setup going. So then we come and then we're just setting up basically all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we set up
it's funny now you say that. I'm like spacing out once we brought that stuff back. Like what happened? Like what did we even do? I don't even remember now.
Just setting stuff up because then we moved the booth and we had to finish setting up our booth and, because we moved the booth in closer and then we still had to do all the tables and finish that stuff. But
tables and chairs,
putting the warm up room together and tables and the tables and chairs, and it took all day basically until we did have a little bit of time before Pounders. There was a couple hours I think in there where we took a break before the evening.
I do remember going back and just laying down for about an hour and a half just on the floor feeling dead.
Yeah, and then I messaged you at one point, or you messaged me or something. I was like, "Oh, when do you think about going?" Yeah. And it was maybe like 6 or 6:30 that we ended up heading to Pounders. And my God, last year the picture of us at Pounders, there was like 12 people around a table, and this year the entire bar was packed.
You couldn't get a picture because
people.
It was the entire restaurant. No. Like it actually was. I think that there was 5 tables in the whole restaurant that weren't us.
It was all Massenomics people, which is great, and it was fun. And I would also mention these are all paying customers, jolly people that are all having fun. I don't think I saw a single person like complain about anything.
I mean, the food could have taken 2 hours. No one would have said a thing.
The wait staff, some of them were so ornery.
I don't know why they were so stressed. I'm assuming they were stressed because it was just a big crowd, but they were trying to break it down for me, and I basically said, like, yeah, we don't care. Do whatever you guys got to do. We do not care how you split us up, what you do with tickets, any of that stuff. Just do your thing. We're going to be sitting here having fun. It does not matter.
Yeah, and Big Mini had said, guess you don't need to work out today. That is the joke that people kept saying. As
George said it in the video. I forgot he said it was so funny.
Yeah, Big George Green, he actually got there early enough on Thursday that he helped us.
Yeah, when we got to the Strongman, by the time we got to the Strongman portion, we had lost Anthony and Megan, but we had gained George and Jake.
And Big George brought my last set of York roundhead dumbbells that it was the 85s that I needed to complete my set. And that was kind of the handoff pair that had gotten passed from a couple of people. And it was Big Hogan at Home Gym Con.
Yes, and I had forgot about this till I watched the video, but there was a little bonus treat in there as well.
Yes, yes, there's a special. Well, this will surface. I think we'll do a whole separate video on the dumbbells at some point in time, so we'll talk about that more of that then. But George did bring a cool surprise that I think maybe came from Hogan at some point in time.
Yes, and for everyone that was worried, yes, the York dumbbell set is now complete, so everyone can relax there.
Yes, it is. And nobody stole anything from this weekend. I've done a full inventory of everything.
Pretty good too.
Don't think anybody
even to accidentally take something.
Keith didn't try and walk out with any of my 9-pound York roundheads like I thought.
Is that what he's missing, or did he just take them?
No, he just knows that they're the
hot ticket item
that someone might want the 9s. So, but the Pounders get together was a blast.
Yes, it was.
That was really fun. And there's so many new crew members here this year. There's a lot of returns from last year, but so many new ones too. So it's like getting to meet a lot of these people for the first time ever in person on Thursday night.
And for people, like, there was over 50 of us there, right? There might have been over 60.
Oh, I think easily.
Yeah, there might have been over 60 of us. Like, so we are in this bar with over 60 of us in there.
I mean, the whole bar was Massenomics people eventually.
Yes, it was. It was all us. And by the time everyone was done with their food, then it just turned into, all right, let's just stand up and stand around all the tables and, plug this whole place up and block it all. So, we...
and that's part of their frustration, I think, because that particular bar is not normally a bar like that.
Right. It's a place where you usually go and eat.
Because everyone's sitting at a table separate from, there aren't people up and, it's not a real social, communal bar like that. We have bars like that that are like that in town.
It's a little bit more like a restaurant, though.
Right. But, I don't know, everyone was...
It's Thursday night in the
still
summer in
odd
Aberdeen.
to me that,
there's nothing going on.
Exactly. Man, I feel like this is what you'd want. Like they would have got way more tips than the usual Thursday night.
People were putting down drinks too. So
Right.
But yeah, we were there for over 3 hours, maybe 4 hours even. And it was a ton of fun. That was the first chance to really catch up with everyone. And like you were saying, meet a lot of people that we hadn't met before. It was just like it was kind of like you're going to college, you're just making the rounds like, oh, are we friends? Like, do we know each other?
Yes. And it's like people would walk in and be like, I think I know who that guy is. I think, I think
that was either that or like, okay, I don't recognize you. Tell me who you are. And you do the whole thing. All right, let's start with the real name. No, well, actually, we recognize most of the real names because we see the orders come through. But sometimes they'd start with the Discord name or the Instagram name. And you just got to go through enough names and eventually one sticks with you.
Right. So then we're back around to Friday morning, and at this point, it's been 2 days of nonstop Massenomics work. But then we're back around to Friday, which is weigh-ins, and Friday is kind of a day where we're running the booth, because that's when all the lifters come in and they kind of get first shot at everything that we've got, and we're handing out everyone's meat teas and stuff like that. So it's kind of a booth running day.
Yeah, they're not busy with the meat, so like they can.
Right.
I mean, it sort of is. Well, people are getting their rack heights and all that, but as soon as the weigh-in and rack heights are done, it just turns into just a hangout for. I mean, how many
everything
other people
all weekend kind of is a hangout.
How many other people would you go to a meet where there's let's say what was it, a 2 hour
weigh-in?
No,
you would just go weigh in and leave.
Yeah, everyone else I cannot wait to get out of this line and get out of here.
Right.
And here it's like, nope, I'm done in the line, and now I'm going to sit here for 2 more hours and just shoot the shit. And that's what everyone does.
Yes, it is what everyone does. But it was fun, and we had some new stuff that, we had the meat teas and the silly pints and the meat hat, and then we dropped our squats shorts, so we had some interesting stuff that people we're getting to check out for the first time. And we did morning weigh-ins, and then there's afternoon weigh-ins. And
afternoon weigh-ins was more of the same, a little smaller, like always. But there were
Yeah.
some people that had some flight issues, and so they were getting in the afternoon. So it was same thing, getting to catch up with some people that we hadn't seen yet. And I do got to say really quick, this is my first meet with a 24-hour weigh-in. And man, is it nice not having to mess with rack heights and weigh-ins the morning of a meet. God, there's enough going on already.
Yeah.
To have to do rack heights, weigh-ins, rules meeting, all of that before you even, it feels like you've done a day worth of stuff and you haven't even got to the lifting part. So it's so nice getting that out of the way.
Did you see what Big Alex jumped in the Discord? He just busted me on something here.
Yes, he did. The lighting, Tanner's
address
lighting
this
is
issue.
all off. Tanner not only left the overhead light on, but no one even called him out on it. And he doesn't have his desk lights on either. I can't believe it right now. Yep, he's still messing with them.
Well, now I'm just like completely in the
You
dark.
are in the dark.
I did not proceed with the correct order of operations there.
There it
Okay.
is. Okay.
How's that looking?
That is better.
Yeah. Just when I think I got the lighting figured out, we go back to our same old tricks.
I guess Ryan called it 20 minutes ago, but also I was in the wrong thread for the first 15 minutes of this, so I was slipping too.
Fixed it. Only 7 minutes into the podcast, and we got the lighting sorted out. I hope that looks better for everyone that's been watching along on our YouTube channel. So then what? Friday, right as soon as the evening weigh-ins are done, then it goes to the Massenomics pre-meet party at my house, of course, where I invite over a couple hundred of my closest friends to my backyard for a little grill out evening, basically.
It started at, I think the official start date was listed at 6:30. I'm sure people got there much earlier. I didn't get there till about 7:30.
There was quite a few people there before I got there at like a little after 6:30. I mean, there was already
putting out the
maybe
vibe.
70 people when I got there by 6:30.
Yeah, and I got there late, and by the time I got there, I mean there was a ton of people there, so it was it was raging.
And we had pork sandwiches and pizza, and a lot of the food got eaten. We did have enough food, which I didn't know how that was going to play out, but there was enough. There was some leftover pork. Most of the pizza got finished, and I had a lot of beer and stuff like that. I guess I had too much because there was leftovers of that.
I saw that. Yeah, there wasn't enough people just getting blackout drunk the night before the meet, I guess.
No, I mean, people were definitely hanging out, drinking.
Well, and people did do a lot
brewskis.
of people did bring their own coolers too. So
That's
people
what
being considerate
they,
there.
You know, people, and that's what people do. It's a lot of times people bring their own stuff, and also like historically, Massenomics drinking a crispy boy is kind of a thing. So then everyone wants to bring. Everyone like has something to bring.
Oh, some
to
special
like
type
show
of
to the
beverage
party
to commemorate
Yeah.
the occasion, whether that's
Right.
some sparkling
so there's
water
just-
or some goofy beer we've never heard of, or bourbon or
Right.
whiskey. Like everyone's has
So just
some,
an excessive amount of beverages is kind of part
there's
of
just
the party.
all this
also.
trading and swapping of going,
Right.
the liquids going on.
Yeah, and then also Friday night is the fashion show / contest sort of thing. So I saw a lot of interesting, unique Massenomics articles of clothing that day.
It also helped.
People
It didn't hurt
did not
that
disappoint.
did not hurt that your mother-in-law sewed up a bunch of fresh gear for the weekend too.
Yeah, so there's people walking around in all kinds of, where it was like 5 different Massenomics shirts all sewn together into one shirt, and there might have been a Lift Evil shirt attached to it, and a Strength Co shirt attached to it, and a Build Fast formula, and all these Massenomics adjacent logos all tied in. There's some pretty cool stuff. Like Jen got the romper
Yes.
thing that she was wearing, and all kinds of cool stuff. I really liked Big Mo's shirt that he was wearing, which was like a parody of the powerlifting record holder, but it was about scans.
Poor man scans. Yeah, there was
Yeah.
that. Just a bunch of there was some Ryan had some custom stickers made for the occasion too.
Oh, a lot of people brought stickers. I also walked away from the weekend with a lot of stickers.
I like how
also,
many people have stickers and custom things like that made to exchange.
There's a lot of new stickers up in Massenomics gym, and here's Ryan's sticker. You know, his I gave blood,
And
Aberdeen,
also
South Dakota, the mosquito,
and also I shook hands with danger.
that one is hilarious.
Classic. Yeah.
Yes. I loved that. And he had those mailed to my house last second. So those are actually sitting here waiting for him like a couple days before. Friday night also, we did the Hall of Fame induction ceremony for Big Scott Dodds as the first person to hit 15 on the Hall of Fame checklist. So he got his official Hall of Fame members only jacket. Nobody knew exactly what that was yet. That was the unveiling right at the party, and we presented that to him. I think that was pretty fun. I assume people enjoyed that. I mean, I know Scott did. We talked to him about that. And
he wore the jacket most of the night, and it was hot out.
As far as I know, he hasn't cut the sleeves off yet, but that would be the question: is he going to cut the sleeves off the jacket? And then we handed out the Hall of Fame
cups to all the new Hall of Fame
to everyone that hit. Yeah, the new ones. And as a part of our supporting members, this whole episode is a supporting member segment, but the people in the crew that hit 12 in the Hall of Fame were Big Jeff, Big Sam, Big Colton, Big Matthias, Big Lou, Big Grant, Big Kevin, Big Bryce, Big Paul, and Big Mo. And actually Big Ryan, Johnson, Jack, and Ginger actually hit it this weekend too. So there was a pile of people. I think we're up to 23 as of this minute, but we'll actually see tonight if we can't up that a little more with some help from some of these guys. So we might get a few more in there even just tonight into the Hall of Fame. But Scott Dodd is officially, you can check it out at Massenomics.com/Hall of, actually Massenomics.com/HOF is the page where you can see. And
you told me you're working on that. I gotta see it for myself here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we got the picture with Scott even. 15 achievements. I love it. 12 achievements. Yeah, that list is growing.
Yeah, that's a grower.
Impressive.
And a shower. Anything else about the Friday night party?
Bugs?
And actually, there was no mosquitoes the entire night.
None?
I didn't notice one for the first 3 hours. And then I don't know what the time was, but you could have set, there was like a 5-minute window.
It was
that they must have like descended from
like 9:45
the sky.
Yep. It's like it got dark enough finally, and they just came out.
And bad.
Mm-hmm.
And within just minutes, within like a couple minutes, and everyone left.
Oh, and I mean, no one could tolerate it. It just cleared everyone out in a hurry.
Yeah, they descended or like rose from the depths of hell and like in full force though. It was all of a sudden it was like none of the pre-spray preparatory work did anything at that point. I was like, nope, there is so many mosquitoes here now, nothing can stop us.
One other thing of note, after that happened, everyone left. We went inside with the Strength Co. with our friends there. And something that blew my mind, I'd be curious to get the greater country's opinion on this, is that they were not familiar with a little Midwestern delicacy called Scotcheroos, or maybe even Special K bars, depending on
a lot of people weren't. I remember that from last year. A lot of people, because we had them last year, so that's why we had just one pan last year, and a whole bunch of the people didn't know what that was. So that's why
blows my mind. Like Connor's from
we
California.
Had 3 pans of them this year for that reason, because so many people didn't know what they were.
Yeah, Connor's from California. D's from California. Grant's from South Carolina. Opposite sides of the country here. None of them had Scotcheroos. And I'm like, okay, like if you go to a gathering of people and someone's going to bring something, there's like a 99.9% chance that Scotcheroos will be at the gathering. And Connor's like, well, yeah, we have sheet cakes. Like, no, this is not a cake. These are very different things here. Like these are little, it's like a butterscotch Rice Krispie bar with chocolate over the top is that the easiest way to describe it? Maybe.
Yeah. And they're way better than all those other things.
Oh yeah. They're great.
Scotcheroos are like crack.
Oh yeah. Those guys were putting them down. They couldn't get enough. They took a Ziploc bag full of them. And I even said for the story, cause everyone knows someone that's like makes the best ones. Everyone's got that person like, oh, they got it down. And the ones at your house were amazing. They were so good. I remember when I had roommates, one of my roommates, his mom lived in the cities, and she made incredible Scotcheroos. And it was like once every 6 months or so, you would just get this package in the mail, and it was a pan of them, and it would be gone in like 30 minutes. Like it was just, we would just like tear into it, and they'd be done because they were so damn good.
Yeah, that's a Scotcheroo.
Mm-hmm.
I've got I think Grant giving us Portnoy rating on it, so I think I'll need to post that. Just reminding me of it. Do you have a can over there?
I do, but I set it down when I was letting the dog out, so it's in the other room. So I might go grab that really quick while you're cracking it.
Yeah,
yours.
while Tommy's doing that, I'll note that we do have a lot of what's in the cans to get to that people gave us over the weekend, especially Friday night. But we haven't. Both cans are in my possession now, so I still have to get the half of those all to Tommy so that we can have those on the podcast at the same time, because we do have at least a handful of beverages, special beverages that crew brought. But we will get to those in the upcoming weeks as soon as we get together in person. I was just saying I've got at least a handful of cans.
Yeah, I saw that. People just kept throwing them.
Yeah. I've kind of got them all consolidated in one area. So next time you're here, I can give those to you. But I've got a bubbly. I have lemon sorbet, which I don't think I've ever had before.
Sounds exotic.
Yeah.
I'm back to the
Crispy
classic
crap.
Waterloo lemon lime. Good as always.
That's interesting. That's an interesting one.
Does it have a sorbet flavor?
Yeah. I like it. I'll give it a 3.5. Nothing greater, though.
It's fair.
This episode of the Massenomics podcast is brought to you, to us, to everyone by the Strength Co. The Strength Co. was obviously there this weekend. We were just talking about Big Grant, Big D, Big Connor. They all made the trip. We had a blast with them, hanging out with them Friday night, all day Saturday night. A little bit on Sunday there too, and they all have made it.
I got to even hang out with them. Oh,
yeah,
that was
Sunday.
actually Sunday night.
Sunday
Never
night.
mind.
Yep. And they all have made it back safe and sound to their homelands, upstates, wherever they are.
Upstates,
They did have a booth. Yeah, they had a booth set up this year. They were selling T-shirts, and they made special Lift Hard, Live Easy collars for the weekend. I think those are all sold out. They had a few left that they were selling on their website.
Yeah, I was just going to check.
Last I saw it, maybe there was like 2 pairs, but those might be completely sold out.
Yeah, it looks like you can get at least one for sure right now.
Okay, so check it out on their site. Lift Hard, Live Easy barbell collars is what they have. So there might just be like a couple of pairs left. I don't know if there's any left by the time you get there. Also, when you're at the strength.co, check out their plates. I mean, that'd be the first thing I'd want you to look at outside of these colors is their Made in America Olympic iron barbell plates. They're the best in the business, the best there ever has been, the best there
damn
ever
plates,
was.
period.
Yep, they won an award for best plates ever made at the strength.co. Check them out.
And this episode is also brought to you by Texas Power Bars. Tanner, there was a recent development here. I don't know if you saw, you're the most recent star of a Texas Power Bars ad.
Did someone post that tonight?
In the Discord, it says,
yeah.
It says, made for elite lifters. There you have it. Buddy Caps is calling you an elite
Quite the
lifter.
stretch. Quite the stretch. What thread is that in?
What was that in? I don't know. I just saw.
Oh, I see it now. It's in yeah. Yeah, 3 reasons why elite lifters only use Texas Power Bars.
Mm-hmm.
There's a picture of me deadlifting.
And to
They
be
did
fair,
catch
you got,
a good
you
one.
got
That's
6
with
plates on the
600
bar here.
Yeah,
it's
that's
looking good.
That's 600 pounds on that one, so it's got a
600
she's got a
solid
little
ass pounds.
bend to it.
Mm-hmm.
Elite lifter though, that seems like quite the stretch.
You know what?
I'll take intermediate to nothing higher.
No. Intermediates do not put 6 plates on the bar, use figure 8 straps, and wear warm pants. Those are all advanced maneuvers there.
Well, that's true. You know, if you see someone in warm pants, you're dealing with a certain
they
breed,
didn't accidentally get into that position. There was a lot of
I did get to
intentional-
see quite a few warm pants this weekend, and I really enjoyed. There's something about the original blue Reband warm pants. When you see someone wear those, you know, it's probably someone that's been around.
It's
a while.
still amazing. Does SBD, have they ever made a version of warm pants? Do they have one?
I don't know. I know Cerberus does. I saw quite a few of those around this weekend too. So, and
there's other red ones, aren't they?
Blue ones. Yeah, they probably make black ones too, because Reband makes black ones.
But there's
now
just something
also.
about blue ones that just
I think you gotta like. I will intentionally wear the blue ones because of the state. Because it's like,
I mean, it's the look, isn't it? It's
yeah, it is.
It's just the way some things have to go together, and it's warm pants that are blue.
That's. It's like I've always said, it takes a warm pants and a cool mind, and that'll get you a lot of places.
It's like my strength coat plates are made in the USA, and my warm pants are blue. Just two things I can always count on.
Yes.
Okay, but back to this Texas Power Bars ad here. Tanner is the newest face of their marketing campaign, I guess. And also, Texas Power Bars have added a little something to their website. There's now a little button on there called the Bundle Builder. Are you familiar with this?
I saw it in an email today.
Yeah.
I looked into the details.
So you can go in there, and if you're, if you're buying in bulk, maybe 10 bars at a time, you can hop into there, build your bundle. You pick the bar you want. You select the shaft. You select the coating. Select the color. How many you want. You start adding them up, and it's going to give you your live discount on the fly. So a nice little addition, especially for people that are buying in bulk. Just another way that Texas Power Bars is passing the legend on to you. So if you want to get in on the action, head it over to texaspowerbars.com and buy what are our favorite bars and the bars we used exclusively in the Lift Hard, Live Easy Classic 2 meet.
Yeah. Wrapped that party up by, the last of them were out of here before 11. I was laying in my bed sometime by 11 something on Friday night. And I got a real solid bit of sleep until about 3:30, and when I couldn't sleep anymore.
Okay,
I'm ready to go for the day.
That's what I wanted to ask you, because we didn't actually talk about this. I will say, every other meet we've done has been a minimum, or every other meet I've done has been a minimum of 3 hours travel, maximum of 6.5, 7 hours travel. So technically this one was also 3 hours of travel for me, but it was the fact that I was staying at my in-laws made it feel like I was staying at home. And I will say that normally going into a meet, my anxiety levels are sky high. Like I'm just crazy nervous. This one, I was not nervous. I was just really freaking excited. And I had a little bit of trouble falling asleep, but it didn't take me too long. And it was the same thing for me. I woke up about 3 and I'm like, oh God, here we go. But I just closed my eyes. I lay there and I fell asleep again. And I actually just woke up on my own about 10 minutes before my alarm went off. So as far as sleep before a meet goes, that was almost as good as it's ever gone for me.
Yeah, I can say I couldn't. I've probably never been. This isn't a point of pride. I was not nervous about the competing one bit. It was almost like I kept forgetting that I even was going to be competing because I have so many other things that I'm worried and anxious about that the competing is like an afterthought at that point. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I guess I get to do that tomorrow. I was
right.
That was only positive vibes where I'm like, oh yeah, that's going to be fun. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh yeah, that part's going to be sweet. And I did, for me, it was different too, because I waited. I didn't even know I was going to compete until that morning.
Right.
A spot opened up.
Right. It's just the way things work out. So it was just meant to be.
So I guess obviously it wasn't a big, it wasn't a source of anxiety for me because I hadn't been training for it. And, I was able to just hop in at the very,
they just
end.
asked you. So like it was the first time it even crossed your mind.
Right. So that, makes it easier because I just didn't even have time to think about it.
Exactly.
So that's different for me. You knew you were going to.
I knew. I'd been prepping for this.
Yeah. And I was assuming I wouldn't.
You had already just decided it wasn't going to happen.
Yes. But no, it was more like I would lay there and be like, oh, yeah. Just thinking about all the day's events and just like what can I worry myself over that only worries you at 3:30 a.m. and then at like 9 a.m. you're like, why am I worried about
that wasn't even
why would
a
that
thing.
be something I would but like it's just a different feeling when you're half asleep or like when you're half laying in bed.
It totally
where
is.
something hits you and you're like, oh my God, this is going to end the world. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, when you think more rationally about it when you're fully awake, you're like, well, it's not that big of a deal either way, is it?
Nope, it never is. It never is.
But that's not what it feels like at the time.
No. And so we get to the meet, right? Is that where we're at?
Yeah.
We get to the meet
for powerlifting.
and I pretty much showed up, said what's up. listened to the rules meeting, and then it was just about time to start warming up. And won't go super in depth, but I will say for squats, I was really hot. Like maybe the hottest and sweatiest I've ever been getting ready for a lift in my entire life. Partly because we got a little behind in warm-ups, so they were going a little faster than what it normally would.
Like you feel like you didn't start early enough?
Yeah, we didn't even start warming up until the first flight. The first flight was already going before I had even touched a bar. So, you know.
Right.
But also squats take a while. You know, I think it was taking close to like 15 minutes per flight. So we still had 45 minutes, but didn't really, because we were doing the every other platform thing. And so we didn't really know how fast that was going to go for sure.
Right.
And later on in the day, it was like, yeah, we got the timing figured out. I didn't worry about it at all. But right away, I was a little on edge, like, how fast is this going to go?
Right.
And I didn't say anything about this, but I think it was just the anxiety of like wanting to get out and compete, you know, because it's been 6 years. This is my first meet in 6 years. It's been a while. It is exactly that. It was on like Tuesday. I was walking into the house and I just felt I'd been up all day. I hadn't lifted in 24 hours. And I just felt this weird thing in like my back glute area. And I'm like, this is it. Here it is. The lifting's done, the whole thing. I'm like, this is where it gets bad. And that was in the back of my mind. It was all I could think about for the next 3 straight days. Like, just like, when is this going to tweak and hurt bad? And then we had to move that equipment. I could not stop thinking about it. And what was really weird is when very occasionally, like if I feel a tightness or something in my back, I can lay on my stomach and I can lift my legs up behind me. And I did it with, it's always my right side that bugs me. I did it with my left side, nothing. I lifted my right side up and I had a pop in like my hip flexor and my glute at the exact same time. They like both cracked.
Yeah.
And instantly I'm like, whoa, like something changed there. And it was almost like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. And whether it did anything or not, I've never, ever had that happen where it popped in both spots like that before. And so I don't know if just something was just sitting a little tight and I just got it. And then after that, I was still a little on edge, but I thought I was in the clear. And by the time we got to warming up for squats, I didn't have a thought in my mind about my back at all. It was like, no, it's go time. I wasn't thinking about that one bit.
Yeah.
So,
and I got to say, even just watching with the 6 platform warm-up room is a lot going on. There is a lot going on with 6 people and then 2 lines of people going out for a, you know, so your full flight of 6 people is all warming up, and then the current flight is all like right in there in between you and the curtain. They're all like lined up, getting ready to go. There is, I mean, you were in it, so you know better than me. I don't, but I think there's enough room there for everyone to maneuver, but there's just a lot of stuff. Like when you look down the line, there is a lot of people moving and getting stuff ready like that.
It's actually funny that you say that because it never really dawned on me because I just, even somehow, I don't know how I settled on the rack. I've actually for squat settled on the rack I settled on because we're all close to the same height, you know, the guys that I was with. But I wasn't even really looking around paying attention. I was just kind of in my zone.
Everyone's in their own zone, really.
Yeah, I actually never felt once that I was like cramped or tight on space. Like there was clearly a lot of people around, but I never in my head thought like, whoa, this is too much. Actually, it's fun to be like, hey, your turn.
Right.
Like I forget that.
It's like
feeling.
a fun training session.
Oh, it is
almost.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's like, nope, I'm after this guy. It's your turn right now. And
yep. Like, oh, what do you want, a quarter? Or, you know, like, it is cool. It is fun like that. The 2 platforms I think actually ran really well. We had we were a little bit nervous about how that was going to go. That went well. I would say even just like recapping the whole powerlifting meet time wise, it maybe took like 30 minutes longer to a bit longer than we were planning. Well, you know, but there was a decent break. Before,
and that was with the 20-minute breaks too.
Right. So actually, like on a time scale, it ran really well to get almost 90 lifters through squat, bench, and deadlift. Is kind of crazy how well it worked.
Yeah, I think
Gino wasn't there because for anyone that doesn't know, this is a little bit old news by this time, but you know, Microsoft or the entire world or what, I don't know. I guess I'm not exactly sure what you categorize it as. I was so far removed from anything in the news for 6 days. I don't know exactly what happened.
I think it was CrowdStrike. Wasn't it CrowdStrike?
Okay. There you go. So the world crashed and that affected, he was going to be flying in that day. and it was just impossible. We were trying to get flights to Sioux Falls or to Fargo and get him to drive, and there was just nothing. He tried. He stayed at the airport for a long time, and a little bit bummed about that, but no time to sit around and be all that bummed about it. It's
There's
like,
just too much going on. It's
like, well, that's out of our control. On to the next thing. And awesome enough, the Minnesota Department of Lifter Safety, one of those guys, I guess I don't know what his name is.
I can't remember his name now either.
Wears the cowboy hat, big guy, and he did a great job. Like he came out firing from the beginning, and I'm like, oh fuck, we're fine here.
We were in the back room talking about it, announcing. It was like that morning, right before it was gonna get going, and we were talking about who's going to announce. And I go, oh, Tanner did a little bit last year. Dave did a little bit. They'll get it figured out. And that guy comes on the mic and he's like, all right, like just fired up. And someone's like, God, Tanner's not going to have a voice in the next 10 minutes if he keeps this up. And then we go around the corner and it was the other guy. But he did great. Like he kept it moving. You can tell he's done it before. Then they said, they're like, oh yeah, he does announcing at meets. He can step in. It was just, again, the Minnesota Department of Lifter Safety. Those guys they know what's going on. They
just
get
another thing even there that they're doing well. Mm-hmm. And before I guess I would say this, I'm going to forget to mention a lot of people that had important roles in everything that went on here, because it takes a village thing is very true in this case. It takes an entire fucking village of people to make this work the way it does. So like Dave and Katie running the powerlifting, Jake running the strongman, someone like Zach coming in to sing the national anthem, which Zach is an incredible singer.
Oh yeah.
Crew member, big Zach, local to Aberdeen, and he rocked it. Like I got to watch up close and personal and was taking video of him, and I'm like, oh yeah, that just sets the tone for the day, kind of where people come out and they're like, holy shit, what's like,
there's just
that's
something
awesome.
You just get trained as an American that before a big sporting event, if there's a good national anthem, you're like, now it's go time.
That will make the hair stand up on the back of your neck, and you're like, okay, shit, yeah, that, like, let's roll.
Yes.
Now I'm
like that.
I wasn't
like
ready.
The official
now
kickoff of now it's time to go.
Yes. But what I was going to say, Big Mini in the live chat right now, for anyone that saw his setup or watched the live stream at all would know what I'm talking about. But oh my God, did he take our what we would call a live stream from last year and up? They're not even compared. I don't. It's hard to put into words how great of a job he did at the live stream.
So for people that, you got to see this really. So go to our YouTube channel, and then when you're on there, because it does save these, you have to go to the live tab. I'm checking right now just to make sure I don't say this incorrectly. So you go to the Massenomics YouTube channel. We're there, and I'm on the desktop right now. But you go to live. There's a tab for live, and you'll see the Lift Hard Live Easy Classic stream from last year. But then you'll see two different 4-hour and a 5-hour stream for this year. And they look amazing. They look so good. He had like
3 cameras set up. He was filming both platforms. He had a mobile camera that he was walking around with at times. He had all these transitions. So there was that he had already pre-built.
I was going back to watch my lifts in here, because that was the other thing that's great is my lifts now live in here forever, so I can go back and reference this video.
Names
and
there.
The more I watched it, because I'm just like looking for myself. But the more I was watching the video, the more I was realizing these details. Like, every time the camera switches, the screen tells you if it's platform 1 or platform 2. Yeah, so immediately you know where you're at. He has every single person's name pops up. I still don't completely know how I don't know if that's like some integration with Open Powerlift. I didn't even ask how he did this, but like I just clicked to the spot in the video. Platform 1, Jake Herber, age 28, sleeves, open class. And then there's also the cutout from the Open Powerlifting screen where I can see the exact weight. Like it's all there. And then they have like cool transitions and animations on it. Like just the more you watch it, the more details you realize like, oh yeah, this is actually super watchable and super professional.
And this year he had the live stream announcer piped into the audio for the announcer we were just talking about. That audio was on the live stream on YouTube, which obviously adds to it a lot. And I guess what I would say is what the Minnesota Department of Lifter Safety is to the spotting and loading, Big Mini is that to the live stream. Like for as important as they are to that and it working well and being like, and when you see that spotting and loading, you're like, oh my God, that's what this is. That's what can happen when someone does this really well. That's like when Big Mini taking over the live stream this year, where it's like, well, now we can't not have him do that.
God, I know.
Like anything not him doing that is is a big downgrade.
Well, and what's wild is there's a lot of big meets every year that charge people for their live streams, and they're worse than this.
I think Mini, and they're gonna know he's listening, but if he wants to, I think he's got the ability to. He could go do that on a whole bunch of
charging
meets
the big bucks for these things and showing up.
Right.
Yeah, and that was one that's actually the most like hands-off thing of the entire weekend, and maybe the biggest surprise because he's just like, yeah, I like to stream stuff. I'll do it for you guys. And not that last year's was bad.
Whatever it is, it'll be better than this.
Right,
last
year's was fine. Last year's is totally standard meat stream, just exactly what you'd expect. Nothing crazy. And it's like anything is better than that. So, yep, our hands are washed of this. Do whatever you want, man. And basically the communication was like, hey, can you send me a couple of these logos, these graphics? Sent those things. That was it. And then he showed up on meet day with his computer, 3 monitors, 5 cameras. And the whole thing worked. Like we didn't do a thing. It was amazing.
It really was. So, I mean, I guess squats went through. What was your top squat?
My top squat,
474.
Yep, that was a little bit. Again, well, this will be more an in-depth video, but
it was really easy.
It was way too easy.
Like I watched it and I'm like, oh, that's too easy.
It was. I actually think if you measured the bar speed, that might have been. I think they might have gotten faster as they went. All 3 of them.
Yeah, I do think your third squat was faster than your second squat. I also think you probably could have squatted 500 pounds.
I think I could have too. And so I did make one little mistake. This was part of just being caught up in the moment. I put the numbers in my phone. Juggernaut was kind of out of the picture on this because I was just so far ahead of where Juggernaut wanted me to be. Part was the knee sleeves and part was me just sort of sandbagging my numbers a little bit in there. And in my phone, I wrote down 474 as like the low end. And then I wrote down like, what's the next jumps? Like 480 and 484 for the next 2. And I'm looking at that number before I go lift. I hit my second attempt, smoke it, and like in my head was just 474 was the number. Like that's where we're going on the third attempt. I didn't think long enough and hard enough about pushing that harder, but I'm about 80% confident 400 or 500 was there on that day.
Yeah,
maybe even more. It was way too fast. So that's the first time in my life I've ever got done with a lift and been like, I definitely left like a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Not like I left 10 pounds out there. Like I left, 30 pounds, maybe more out there.
I think so. I think that's safe to say. I think 500 would have been a good one that you would have got and still would have been like, maybe I could have done more. But this one, it's like, oh yes, I could have done significantly more than that.
And again, so I do need to say this though, like this whole thing was just like I just needed to get back to the platform, it was just about feeling good.
Well, that's what you want. It's like getting all your, and
I did push a little more later on in the meet, but like this whole thing was just, I was going into this thinking like, if I hit a 1200 total, I'm totally happy with that.
Also 475 is still more than you've squatted in a long time, right?
It's more than I've squatted in a long time. I don't know if I've ever, that's up there for this body weight. I weighed in at 211. Both of my squats that are bigger than that were when I weighed in at closer to 220, 225. So it might be a body weight PR, honestly, for where I'm at there. And that was, I wanted to get into this meet and feel good about things. I had a 3-month prep here. I hadn't been killing myself in the weight room. I just wanted to keep everything feeling good. And I just need to keep that momentum going in through the meet too. So.
Yeah. And then any notes? I mean, it transitioned to bench press, obviously. Mm-hmm.
And transitions fast.
As meets do.
Yeah, it transitions fast to the point where like you just forget about it. You're like, I don't even need to, I just go to the bench. I don't even need to warm up. We're just ready to go here.
No, you're like, you're pretty primed after going through max squats attempts. Yeah.
And I was riding a pretty good high after squats. I was like feeling really strong and with the idea in my head, like I need to push this. And so also with bench then, the idea here was my planned second attempt, 330, would be a meet PR. So I was like, if I can hit that number, I don't even care what the next one is. I just want that damn meet PR. And that's for sure. And that's at a much lighter body weight than the last few times. And warm up was feeling great on bench. I had a ton of confidence going in. I'm like, basically, if I can hit my first one, I think as long as the first one feels good, I'm going to be okay. And Ross, the old bench master, came out of the shadows to watch me through.
He's like, he could smell the bench presses coming from a mile away.
It's like, Ross, I hadn't seen you all day.
Let me help. Let me provide my services.
You start benching and he's just
I know
there.
when I'm needed. Yeah.
Like a bloodhound. He knew someone was benching and he sniffed him out. And Ross is at my side and I told him, I go, hey, can you film these Because I didn't also have anyone filming me for squat, which kind of messed me up too. I think if I maybe would have seen him, I would have changed my perspective. But Ross filmed my first one for 315, and it moved really fast. It was just like my left arm just like did kind of a weird thing.
I had seen that.
And Ross was like, oh yeah, you just got to get that tight. And I'm like, oh yeah, I do got to get that tight. I'm going to take care of that. So we went for 330 on the second, and it moved just as good as a 315. And so now I'm like, yes, bench PR in the bag, baby.
With house money.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm going for it. Like Juggernaut wanted my third attempt to be like 340, whatever the kilo is. And I thought in my head that feels ambitious, but I'm like, you know what? I downplayed it too much on squat. My second attempt bench felt great. I'm going for it. Go out there. And when I watched the video, the first like 6-7 inches off my chest, it just flew. And then I hit the wall and it was stuck. So too much there. I don't feel bad about that at all because you say, if anything, if I would have got my third attempt, the next
maximum you left one step off of the table.
Yep. So at most I left 5 pounds on the table. I don't even feel bad about that. And I got a PR. Like I just, I was feeling, I had no regrets there. I felt great about it. I was totally happy with that. Totally fine. I got to sneeze over here.
And were you lifting with Grant in the warm up?
Yeah. And so at this point now, Grant had hopped in. So then it was fun benching with Grant because, I don't actually know if we've ever worked out together. So we're doing our bench warm ups together. Yeah. It was fun. It was just like, you're just chatting and having a good old, and it's also funny. I think of other meets, how much it used to be like, nope, headphones are in, I'm in the zone. And like the warm-up room, the whole time, I'm not saying like joking around and laughing, but I didn't have music on at all until it was attempt time.
Did you have headphones?
I put them on at attempt time just to kind of like block out some of the noise a little bit because there was a lot of commotion. But that was it. And even then, I usually didn't put them on until like 2 guys before my attempt. Like, okay, just give me like a minute to 2 minutes here to get in my zone. And that was it. Otherwise, I didn't even use music the entire weekend. Where before that was always such a huge part of the meet for me.
Strongman's a little like I didn't even consider it. Strongman is a little different because it's like powerlifting is more rigid in what's going on, and you know the timing and the flow and stuff like that. And Strongman is just different in the sense that like you almost can't be hanging out jamming like because you're gonna like miss and like you actually need to know what other people are doing because it's it's important for what you're like. You have to walk like in a powerlifting. You don't give a shit. You're not out there like, oh, this guy just did 5 more pounds. Now I'm upping it. Like none of us are thinking about it in that terms.
No, this isn't a national or a world level event here. We're just like trying to do
Strongman. Strongman is a competition against the people you're going against. Like that is the whole thing. So you're like, I'm always watching what's going on because you want to know about numbers and like what you need to be shooting for and that sort of thing. And you just can't, there's really no time to be able to block out
it doesn't work that way. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, and that was the fun part. So we got to bench with Grant and it was funny. He goes, well, I'm here. I might as well do push pull. So all of a sudden Grant signed up for deadlift, which was awesome because all right, we get to lift together again. Yeah. And deadlift warm up, like, I was feeling great. I was feeling really good. The heaviest attempt I'd taken in training was 465. I was thinking, okay, I'm going to pull for whatever 1300 is. 1300 ended up being basically 500 is the number I needed to pull. My first attempt was like 455, felt really good. Second attempt, 475, which would be a PR. I mean, like a meet or a prep PR. I mean, first time I've hit that in for real 6 years. Like my last meet would have been the last time I touched that weight. So hit 475 again, felt great. Dylan was hyping me up. He's like, oh man, that moves so fast. You got to be careful. The whip at the top might get you. Like, not words people typically say to me, but it was moving good. So it's like, 500's the number. Let's give it a go. And I watched the playback of this like 1,000 times. And I don't know if you have, I for sure gave up on it. I 100% did. That was the first time I can say in all of this training that I've had that I've really started to feel just that strain in my back. And I'm not saying like a hurt strain, but like, when you're like straining hard, like an RP actual 10 lift, that was the first time I've had that feeling in any of my, I should say in bench or in deadlift or squat. And I felt it in my head. It felt like I was fighting it for 3 seconds and I'm like, don't like that feeling. And, I had to give up. I'm just not used to, I just don't have that confidence to take that on yet because I hadn't trained like that at all. So,
or where your back might like move position.
Right. So like you're
just
not
little
keeping a
bit to be able to
perfectly
get it.
neutral
Yeah,
spine, which
right,
every max
right.
deadlift I've ever had in my life, I don't keep a perfectly neutral spine. Like 'cause
Exactly.
it's a
Well,
max
it
deadlift.
doesn't. There's a point in time there where that
That goes out the window.
Like it's not what you want to be training like all the time, but you almost train like that, knowing that like
it's going to be there.
a day might come when that gets sacrificed a little bit.
So part of that is, and Dylan told me, he's like, oh, you're gonna be mad when you watch that. The bar was still moving up when you missed it. And like when I look, I think I quit. I think it was at my knees. And I don't know if I've ever failed a deadlift at my knees. Usually if I fail it, it's 4 inches off the floor. But yeah, I mean, it's just part of that's confidence. And I just didn't train that way. And that's, again, totally fine. I feel pretty damn good saying that, if I can keep stringing some good blocks together, that I think next year I could have a pretty rock solid total if I can keep this momentum going.
Right.
So I got done with that.
Overall,
I think my
it was
total,
a really good day.
Yeah, I think my total ended up being like 1272 or something like that. What's that? 28 pounds short of what my goal was. But again, totally happy with
your
the
total.
performance.
Wasn't far from 1325 though, too.
Actually, it's
it's easy to say shit like that.
It
but
is.
Actually, like it not being you, I look at it and I say that. I'm like, it actually really wasn't far from 1325.
I mean, I thought that for a second. And in years past, when I've missed third attempts, I've played that game with myself. I'm like, oh, I left 10 there, I left 15 there. And like, I thought for a second, I'm like, yeah, probably left 25 on deadlift or on bench and deadlift squat. Yes.
Deadlift
Squat.
And then probably like 30 pounds on the squat.
Yeah. And so then it's like, yeah, you're at 1325 with my best total ever being like 1410. And, it's like, I do the math and you break that out. And it's like, oh, I'm still at like my strongest ever. I'm like 92% of the way there, whatever it is. And add a lighter body. There's a ton of things you can complain about. And I was so happy with the day. I was just like, hitting that last deadlift is always a great feeling, but I can totally live with that. I had a great time. And then I'm like, you know what? The work's done. I get to just watch these guys go lift heavy weights and have some fun now.
What were you in flight B or flight C? Okay.
B.
And we were going to call a few people this episode just to get like really short, quick, down and dirty from people there, maybe a handful. What do you think about calling one of them now? Yep. All right. So this is somebody that competed in powerlifting also. We're going to try and get Big Ryan, Big Iowa Ryan on the phone.
And I don't know if you caught what he was doing, but we got a little chat with him about something here.
Okay. All right, good. And he did compete in powerlifting also here, so.
Ahoy, hoy.
Big Ryan, you old son of a gun. Is that you?
It is.
Just the guy we've been looking for all night. Big Ryan, first and foremost, I believe officially now with your sound on your voice on the podcast, is that 12 checked off the list for you on the Hall of Fame card?
That is. That makes 12.
Congratulations.
Welcome to the brother/sisterhood. We can finally start telling you about all the inside secrets that only those in the Hall of Fame get to know about.
All right.
Injury prevention.
You thought this
tips,
was a secret
like
community that now there's like a secret community that you get to find out about.
Ryan, I was just trying to tell Tanner, I'm not sure if he caught this, but do you want to tell Tanner your bench technique for the meet?
Reverse grip.
Yeah. So what's the story on that? How long had you been planning on the reverse grip bench press?
I was trying to get, with my shoulder, I was trying to get regular grip for a while. Just wasn't working. I was using like a camera bar. Just on a whim, I tried reverse grip a couple times. Didn't really work. And then like third time it clicked. And then I've been doing it for like a month or two. So,
how did it play out? Like, do you feel like you hit decent numbers after switching to the reverse grip?
Yeah, I did. I got a like 15-pound bench PR. Full shoulder PR.
Nice.
So yeah.
So are you doing the thing that who do we talk
Jimmy
about?
Kolb?
Yeah, that Jimmy Kolb talked about, where you actually put it between your pinky and your ring finger, the barbell.
I'm not sure about that. I kind of just put my middle finger on the rings.
Yeah.
Kind of grip it that way, so
would you say it's more of a grip it and rip it? of the
Yeah.
bench. Okay. No, you must not be doing it because you would know it's like very weird. You actually like rest the bar. Like
It's like a talon
put
grip for reverse.
yeah,
grip.
the talon grip. So your pinky is actually
no.
on the other side of the bar. It feels like really awkward. So you probably aren't doing that then, I would guess.
No.
And I didn't know you were doing that, Ryan. I don't know where I was standing. I looked over and my brain like short circuited because I thought your arms there was something severely wrong with them before I realized, oh, he is reverse gripping. Like that is wild.
You were the only reverse gripper at the meet, I assume, right?
Yeah, a lot of people were kind of surprised by that.
Did you brief the judges or spotters and loaders before you went out there? Like, hey, I'm going to be reverse gripping this.
No, I just jumped right in, went with it. So
just scare them, just try to throw them all off. Be like, yeah, let's get these people for a loop.
That's right.
That's good. And you did what? Push pull?
Yeah, I was planning to do just bench, but they still had me for full power, so I just did deadlifts as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, it was good to have you lifting there. Sad day though. You were certainly a front runner for the most injured award, and it turns out you did not win most injured this year. Are you still bitter about not winning most injured?
It's stung a little, but we got once in the past. So
Tanner,
Well,
you weren't
this
there.
whole-
He did file a protest with the judges, but it was overruled by the jury. So I didn't want to tell you that. There was a whole process.
Okay. So yeah, you didn't get most injured, but there's always next year with it being there on meet day.
that's right.
Excellent. Well, good job, Ryan. Good job on the reverse grip. What about what was your favorite part of the weekend?
Just kind of meeting everybody, going out for this is my first meet ever, so it was
Nice.
a good.
Oh, it was actually your first meet
experience.
ever?
Yes.
I probably had the same conversation with you at some point, but I for sure thought you had done a couple before.
I would say also you might have been the only person to get your photo at Wiley Beach, so respect,
Yes.
serious props for that. Actually stopping at all the locations that we put in the Aberdeen tour video. Also, you may have had the best custom stickers. There's a lot of people with custom stickers. I'm just going to say it. You had the best custom stickers.
Even
year.
my father-in-law was really impressed by the mosquito one. Somehow he got one of those, and he's like, "I can't believe you guys made these. These are great." I go, "We didn't make them. A guy from Iowa did," and it just he couldn't comprehend that someone else could make a sticker that good.
Well done, Ryan. We'll get you that Hall of Fame cup coming soon then too.
All right, sounds good.
Good work,
All right,
Ryan.
see you, man.
See ya.
Thanks.
I'm gonna save them all. They're all gonna get one big cool beans at
Okay.
the end here.
That's fair. Should we call one more?
Yeah.
Here quick. We got kind of two in the powerlifting scene and two in the strongman. So maybe we'll talk about the shift of the day a little bit after this and then come back to a couple more calls. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next we're going to try Big Murph. See if our phone will dial all the way out to the East Coast here.
I feel like the
Got
wire
ringing.
is the wire ringtone the theme song of the wire
Oh,
play?
yeah.
It's a ring back.
Gentlemen,
Big Murph, is that you?
it is.
We were
Long time no see.
It's kind of weird. Usually that's true, and now it is like, oh no, all these people are probably sick of talking to us, but instead we're going to call them late on a weeknight. Anyways, the important point for anyone that doesn't know, Murph is the champion of the weekend. She won female best overall lifter of the meet. So how does it feel?
It feels pretty damn good.
Was that ever a thought in your mind going into the weekend?
No, not really.
Did you know before? So you get you got the championship belt. You and Matthias got the 2 championship belts. Did you know prior to announcing it? Had you figured it out, or anyone figured it out, or like sitting there for awards? Had you kind of figured it out by then, or not?
No, Big Jen was kind of insisting before the meet even started that I was going to get the belt. And I was like, oh man, I don't know. There's all these youngins.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. And then during the meet, not on my mind, like at all. I was going to hit what I was going to hit no matter what anyone else was doing. So didn't pay attention. And then afterwards, Big Jen was like, I think you got it. I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't know. And then we were just having fun playing with the Keith heads and weren't really paying attention.
So
So it was pretty cool.
What did they say to you the first day you showed back up at work and you were wearing it?
Well, I was teleworking the next couple of days, so
Okay.
I haven't taken it into the office, but I do plan on taking it in, and the security guards are definitely going to be like, what the hell is
Yeah.
in your bag?
You were, as required, of course, wearing it at the zoo on Saturday night. And
I wore it to the airport.
yeah.
I buckled it into the seat next to me on the plane. We took good care of it.
It is a really cool award to get. Like, they look really badass. Like, it is really fun, I think.
Yeah, we definitely had a lot of fun. A couple people were taking pictures with it, and I was keeping an eye on them at all times.
Well, congratulations. We're excited that you won that. Also, does this make 12 on your Hall of Fame checklist, then, your voice being on the Massenomics podcast?
It does. Thank you, guys.
Well, yes, so you are in the Hall of Fame now officially. We will have your Hall of Fame cup coming to you soon. Congratulations. It's an exclusive club. As I was telling Ryan, we will start telling you the inside secrets that not even Jen or any of the other members could have been filling you in on yet.
And also,
oh my God, do I even want to know?
Well,
I'm just making it
there's
up.
one final thing though. You are going to get an invoice for shipping and handling. It's like $300. Once you pay that, then you'll get the cup. Then Tanner will send the cup.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're a. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what a week.
Oh yeah, you're a two-time veteran of the Lift Hard Live Easy Classic now. You're the grand champion this year. What's your favorite memory from this year, do you think?
I think some of the like hotel fireside chats were just a good time.
At
laughing
the
with
Fairfield.
folks after. At the Fairfield.
I was kind of jealous of those pictures that I saw. You know, Tanner and I aren't Fairfield guys. We have to stay at regular houses like normal people.
Yeah. That is part of what's really cool, I think, though, that outside of like what we need to do for like setting up and like running things, we could almost be just not even be around. And like I'm saying this as a positive, no one would really care. They'd be
constantly like,
everyone's well, we've got each
fun.
other. We don't really need you idiots.
Yeah.
You know. So, like,
they're just everyone's over having fun again. Oh, real cool guys.
Right. So I think that's a big positive though, that everyone gets along that well.
Yeah, I think there was like a time when we were hanging out in the hot tub. And we were like, oh, poor Tanner and Tommy. They're working and stuff.
I was sweating my balls off for like 5 straight days, but it is worth noting. I don't think I've said it on this episode yet, though. I did wear the same pair of shorts for 4 straight days, only taking them off to sleep and never washing them. So they were pretty ripe by the end of the weekend.
Oh, poor Mary.
Yeah, she actually didn't really have to see me that much, so she probably lucked out. But I don't know what happened to those. They might have just gotten thrown out. I hope not, though.
Disintegrated.
Squat shorts. Yeah. So congratulations. It was awesome seeing you again. We're like we told you the night of or the day of. We're really glad that you were the big winner this year. That was cool, and I like that you had Megan do this official transfer over of the belt, even though there is a new belt, but you each get to keep your belt. But it was a cool look.
Yeah, no, that was another exciting part, was that she was so excited that I won, and I was so excited to see her lifting stones. I like lost my voice screaming for her. It was just a really cool like little bond that we had afterwards of just being excited for each other.
It was cool. It was really fun. And those Keith heads at the Strongman were really awesome too. So you mentioned that too before I forget. Those were really fun. And it's fun because it's half of a Keith head.
You know, I don't know who ended up with those, but at some point we realized that a couple of us, we were all taking the selfies with them.
Yes.
Of like having the Keith head bombas. And so then we were showing each other pictures like, oh, I did that too.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. We will see you. I don't know. Who knows what event we'll see you at? I mean, you're already at 12 now, but you might want to keep checking things off. So maybe we'll see you at the Arnold Sports Festival. We'll see what things bring us this year.
We shall see.
All right.
All right.
Congrats.
Thanks, guys.
Congrats,
See you, Big
Thanks.
Murph. Congrats.
Have a good night.
See ya.
Bye.
All right. There's 2 new Hall of Famers right there. checking them off. What a coincidence that they were both almost into the Hall of Fame, and that call got them there.
Our numbers are growing. God, the Hall of Fame is getting deep though.
Yeah, after tonight, we may be getting close to 30, actually, which is kind of a cool thing.
Impressive.
To see people making it in there, because it's not easily done. There's a lot of people that a lot of these people that have been very into Massenomics, that it's an uphill battle getting into there. So it's cool seeing more and more make it. A lot of them this weekend, of course, with the Lift Hard Live Easy Classic. But what do we figure? Powerlifting wrapped up by about 3 p.m.
I think powerlifting was done before that. I think the Strongman started at 3, didn't it?
Maybe it started at
I
3.
I think powerlifting was actually done
by like 2:30 or something.
I think it was done before 2, I think.
Okay,
and then,
maybe it was.
I think it was done before 2, and then there was I think it ended up being a 45-minute to hour changeover to get all the Strongmans. In my mind, powerlifting was done slightly before 2, and sorry. What was our initial on the schedule? Did we put 2 start time for the Strongman?
Yeah, powerlifting finished about 2:30, 2:45. Yeah, and then Keith said Strongman was going by about 3:30, so there was about 30 or 45 minute change over there.
Yeah,
so yeah,
there you go.
So powerlifting went about 45 minutes longer than what we had hoped for. I guess.
Best case scenario.
It's within the window.
Yeah.
It's within a reasonable window. Like you're never going to plan that much more close than that. But in a perfect world, I would say that would have got done at 2. If we're saying an absolutely
to go things as fast as possible. Yeah. And then, then at this point I was pretty much just kicking back, watching the show and relaxing.
Yeah, and I think that's what most of the powerlifters were doing, right? And there hadn't been awards yet.
I saw a lot of beers going around.
Yeah. Did you have a brewski then?
I had a brewski, but I was still I'd sweated so much that I was trying to put some Gatorades down because I was playing the long game. I had to get to the zoo that night. I also need to get some food in me.
I drank over 4 or 5 days, I drank 40 Gatorades. I'm not exaggerating either. And I was not eating that much food because I just was so busy and not actually I didn't eat. I ate from the Pickled Pig on Saturday. I ate because I knew I needed to eat some food. I ate my big breakfast on Saturday morning. I ate a sandwich and protein balls from the Pickled Pig about at noon or at 11:30, and I didn't eat the rest of the day.
Yeah,
because I was gonna get food at the. Actually, I didn't eat. I was gonna get food at the zoo, but I was just not hungry, and by that time I was literally slamming beers because I wanted beer so bad. And I
was curious what you did for dinner. Actually,
I did not eat, which is something I would never do. And by the time Mary's had asked me a couple times, "Oh, should we get food here?" I'm like, "Yeah, get me whatever." I literally I wasn't going to invest 30 seconds of time into it. I'm like, if you're getting something, get me literally anything. I couldn't care less. I just probably should eat something. And by the time she finally did it, they're like, "Oh yeah, we're not serving food anymore." And I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I could not eat. Somehow I'm not hungry. I didn't eat till 2 a.m. We'll get to that when we went to McDonald's drive-through.
That is a late one.
Yeah. So what I had was 40 Gatorades where I'm you've even commented before a few times where after a while, the bottled water just
doesn't stick. It just
runs right through you.
It does. You're just pissing on nonstop. So it's like you need the Gatorade to make it stick.
Yes. I probably had 1,000 grams of sugar through Gatorades.
And also you had so many of those little ones that you packed for us, where you're
which is a one drink.
Yes, this is a drink.
You just open it and slam it, and you're like, "Blip, done."
Yep. And sometimes you
kind of like that because you're just
you have to grab another one to then actually have a little bit more thirst quenching. Yeah, it felt like I was just putting those things down all weekend.
Because they're basically like Gatorade shooters almost. It's just whoop, done. Quick 22 grams of sugar or whatever's in there.
Bump those levels up.
Yeah. So then Strongman kicked off by 3. So I missed, unfortunately, deadlifts are the coolest part about a powerlifting.
Got the flames going.
Deadlifter, not a deadlifter. It's just fun and people are getting wild, and it's just the coolest part visually to watch. But we were warming up and doing our rules meeting and stuff. So at that point I had gotten full battle rattle on, and full battle rattle for Strongman is sweaty inside of when you're covered in, so I'm wearing warm pants, like getting ready for the log press. I'm wearing warm pants, knee sleeves, elbow sleeves, a grip shirt, my soft belt, which is actually just 2 layers of belts,
basically.
Wrist wraps. Like you're covered, like you're walking around just covered in stuff. So I was sweating like somebody in somewhere that so they sweat quite a bit, depending on how the saying goes.
Sweaty person.
Yeah. So I was covered in sweat, but I actually felt not that bad. I was like, after like 4 days of just running myself absolutely fucking ragged, and then like a day of not eating and being busy the day, not doing what you would normally do if you were competing. Like you'd just be like
kind of like the list
yourself.
Of things you shouldn't do in the final stages of a prep.
Doing all of those things.
To be fair, you didn't know you were going to be doing this though. So
that's true. Literally, I actually didn't even know the morning of it. It was just mere seconds. Jake said, "Hey, we could use one more guy in this. Like we just did the numbers. We crunched the numbers."
Like, I accidentally threw my duffel bag in when I was at the gym earlier, so this does work.
And I'm like, I do have some of this stuff around, so sure, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Big Alex asked what full battle rattle. He knows what full battle rattle means. I guess that's a military term. That's a army term. That's when you're getting all your full gear on. And Big Alex knows what full battle rattle is actually. But I like to use that term in Strongman because it gets ridiculous at a certain point. You're like all the things you're wearing. It was hot in there by the afternoon. And we knew that just as far as the meat goes in general, maybe we'll touch more on this, but we knew that the temperature would be a concern. There's no secret after last year. And we did have quite a few more large fans this year. I don't know if it helped very much.
I mean, if you're close to one,
I'm being honest about that. Yeah, if you're standing literally in front of one, you'd like to think that there is a little more air moving wherever you are, but I don't know if it helps that much. I mean, I would rather have the fans than not have the fans.
I'd stand in front of one. We had the ones that, were on the pedestal actually right by us by squatting. I'm standing in front of it. And I'm thinking, I'm totally cooled down. I'm doing great. And the second I walk away, I'm like, nope, I'm blazing hot and I can't stop sweating.
Yeah. So that is like the fans. You have them there so people can at least like rotate in front of them and like get in front of them. And hopefully for the people in the stands, depending on where you're sitting, they were getting some air movement. That is a hurdle that we have that doesn't have an easy answer for, unfortunately. As far as the lifting goes in the Strongman, I'm not going to get into like absolutely every minute detail of all of mine because we'll have a video on that. But log press was first. It was a max log press event. That event, I'm in the competition, but I'm also simultaneously thinking about 7 other things because I'm thinking about the show and how it looks to the people. I'm also thinking from the promoter standpoint of view. I'm like, the max log event takes a little too long because of, the format we're trying to achieve, just because everyone gets the 3 attempts. And I'm not saying it takes too long. It is long.
Yeah,
it is kind of a
just
long
anything.
event.
Yeah, anything when people are getting multiple attempts, because I got to have time between the attempts too. You don't just go back to back to back. So it's just the nature of an event like that.
Yes, it is just kind of the way that goes. But I enjoyed it. Actually, the one thing I would say about me personally on the log is you could jump in wherever you wanted to.
This is the first thing I'm like, what's Tanner doing? Like normally when I think of you, I think of Tanner with very calculated attempts. And it was like was it your first attempt? It was a little like
so I jumped in at 240, which should be easy for me. I mean, it was in training. I probably, for at least that event, I underestimated my fatigue of like 4 days of busting my balls and like.
Well, that was my first thought because I saw you go up there and I was like, yeah, this will like he will throw this into the air like
that.
Nothing.
Being said, it wasn't even like I felt weak. I didn't feel weak. What I felt was dizzy, really dizzy, and that I know that has a tendency to happen to me on log press. And it really happens to me when we did the log press outdoors in 2018 at the Strongman. I looked up for the first time and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to fall down and die.
That Brown County Fair one, I'll never forget because I think it was a perfectly clear day. You look up and it's just pure nothingness. And I remember that I've never felt this feeling because when you're in the gym, you look up, you see the ceiling, you got an anchor point. And that was, seeing. I totally understand where you're coming from there as someone with basically no experience.
So that is what happened to me. As 240 should have been pretty easy, and I cleaned it really easily, and I got it to the rack position. And before I even pressed it, I was like, "Oh my god, I feel my body feels like Jello, like immediately like Jello," because I felt like I was, when you do like almost like a cartoon swaying,
Yeah.
like that's what I felt like. I wasn't literally doing that, but that's kind of what
up there.
yeah, I had the wobbles really bad, but so I went to press it, and it ended up being quite the fight to lock out the press. And in watching it in hindsight, it's just like a couple seconds.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's never as long as you think in your head. But I swear to God, in the moment, I felt like 100 thoughts went through my head in that. like I thought so many things in the amount of time that I was trying to lock that one out, because in the way the competition was set up, if you missed a lift, you're out of the competition. So that would mean I'm zeroing that event and taking 0 points on the very first event. And I'm like, this is going to be an almost impossible hole to dig myself. And that's all, like what I'm describing. I felt like I had every one of those thoughts in the moment while I had that log halfway above my head. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I ultimately resided on the thought that, like, I have to get this or I am fucked.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, if I don't get this, it's embarrassing. It's, it really, nobody cares, but I'm thinking about it just, the way everyone thinks about themselves. I'm like, this is embarrassing. I'm fucked. There's no coming back from this. And also I'm thinking, you get 60 seconds, but also I'm thinking, if I don't lock this out, I'm never getting it on another attempt because I'm already just so mentally
just beat up.
Just from those couple split seconds, I'm like, I've officially, like, mentally, if I don't get this, I'm going to be no coming back from this. Like, I already knew there's no chance I'm not getting this log if I don't get it right now. Mm-hmm. So I did get it locked out. And our judges that we had from Edgar's House of Pain, I'll say this, great judges in the sense that they were really strict, and there was going to be nobody that got a lift and you're going to say, maybe it was a lift. Every lift that was gotten was earned. And
100%.
Like, nobody was going to give them any shit either. So Big Jason was, he was running our lane, and you had to lock things out definitively or else you are not getting a down command. And I'm pretty positive nobody's going to give that guy hell either if he doesn't say what you want, what you think he should. So I actually thought especially as, me being one of the guys in charge of Massenomics and being very conscious, I never want any, like, would never want something to be
special
like, oh,
treatment.
what's that call he got? So I loved the way he was judging in the sense that, like, no, this is going to be strict as hell for everyone. So I think that's a great way to approach strongman judging in general, I think, because then it just removes the gray area.
Yep. I think most people picked up on that pretty fast, that,
yes,
there's going to be no debate as to whether you got this lift or not.
Yeah. So I got that 240. I came back and then did 260. And my first try at that, I pressed it up way faster. Mm-hmm. And I just, like, at the lockout, I just lost my balance again. Like, it moved way, like, it actually surprised me how much easier. It was, like, way easier than 240 was. And then because of just having the little bit of the dizziness, though, I think I just couldn't lock it out. So then I set it down and reset. I'm like, I got plenty of time here. Just give this one more go. And I knew the way things were playing out that I'd be in a pretty good spot if I got that one, because not only did I struggle with the log, or at least do not great for myself for what I thought, a lot of people were not doing well for themselves. So a lot of the numbers were coming down.
That's what I noticed too. It wasn't like people just blowing up the log like lifter after lifter.
No.
Everyone was kind of fighting with it.
A lot of people were struggling with, this isn't probably universally, but I just, from conversation with other guys, a lot of people had that same experience probably. I came back and I got 260 on the second try. I did it, but I felt it in my elbow as I was locking out the 260. Something popped in my elbow.
Really?
And I was like, oh, fuck. But I still got it. So and after, like, those struggles, I didn't even try 280. I was like, especially after my elbow did whatever it did. At the time, I'm like, I don't know what that is. but I got 260, didn't try 280. Tyler, the star of the log press though was Tyler Thompson in the super heavyweight.
Yes.
He gave 400 a run. And I was certainly cheering for him as loud as I could from that. I wanted to see that 400 really badly.
400 is just so insane.
Yeah, that's impressive. Tyler's a big man, and it's just cool watching him go after 400. I wish he would have loved to see him got it, but it was still fun to watch. Yeah. Log wise, otherwise, there's a few others over 300 pounds. That was good to see. Big Seth in the novice did an attempt. I think it might have been at 240 where he almost died. It almost crashed down onto his head. And I literally said out loud to whoever I was with, I'm like, there is no fucking way someone is going to be able to get this lift after that happening. And he got the lift on a second attempt. I'm like, that's one of the more impressive things I ever seen, because he literally almost just like collapsed into a ball and crushed to death by the log.
Yes.
And after a really big struggle, and then he still came back and got the lift.
Yeah, I feel like someone put in the Discord or somewhere a screenshot of like the worst possible moment on that. And like when you see the screenshot, you're like, oh yeah, that guy died for sure. But nope, somehow came back and hit it.
Yeah, so that takes balls. So that was the log lift. Then we did, what was that? The deadlift was after the log. And those shields that Edgar House of Pain brought were really cool.
Those were really cool. I didn't know how you guys, I didn't know that
cool.
was going to happen. And so when I saw those, I was wondering, well, what took place here? Where do these come from?
Yeah, those are cool, made for it. I had seen them in video. Jake had, when that was the plan, he had sent me videos of them being used in like other competitions before. I'm like, yeah, those are really cool. Mm-hmm. And then the other lane, theirs was they're on really cool custom metal wagon wheels. So I just thought, as far as a spectacle, I was really happy the way that deadlift looked. Mm-hmm. And then like we were on a platform too, which I think also just makes it
makes it bigger again.
Yeah, it makes it. Yeah, that's a great word. It just makes it bigger. So I thought those were awesome. I got really Big Toby went out first in our group and he got 16 reps, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Because I thought I could do fairly well in deadlift, but I'd never done 16 reps. And I'm like, fuck, I cannot do 16 reps is like my first thought when I'm like, fucking bastard, is what I'm thinking. That was what going through my head. But there was a lot of people that did a lot of reps in all the classes, I think, right?
Yeah. That was, again, one of those events where you're watching it as a spectator and you're like, is that heavy enough? Because it seems like people are just ripping these things.
Right.
That's always the weird thing with Strongman, or what's weird, because like every event, like almost no one is like good at every event. So like you'll have two people crush two events and then they'll go to the next one and get like last or second to last. And that's just the nature of the beast. But it always messes you up when you see, because like when you went up there, it literally looked like you were playing. I mean, we say it was the Sunday paper for you. Like it looked like it was just bouncing off the ground and you were just like.
And it did feel like that.
Oh, it looked,
and I did.
So,
it did not feel like that in training. And I was training just like a half inch lower in training. I was intentionally like slightly harder all the time. But I don't know. I just credit that to the environment.
Oh yeah,
honestly.
for sure.
Really know.
But like your first 10 reps, I'm like, I think Tanner could do 30, like if he wanted to, is how it looked.
It felt shockingly easy. As honestly, like even to myself, I'm like, I don't really know what's going on. Is the weight wrong on the bar? Because it just felt really easy and like I could go really fast. And I think it was just the environment, being with all the dudes and having the crowd. And
your deadlift was, really your deadlift training looked like it was going as good as it ever could.
It went good, but I just hadn't expected it was going to go that. I mean, because I do think like had there been a mark out there of like 23, I think I could have done 24.
I think so too.
I think, I'm just making up numbers, but like I could have done more than I did, but it was just, then it was also playing a game of there's still a couple people to go or something that I'm like, well, what do I, when I'm quitting here, is it at a number that I'm going to still get beat on? Cause then that sucks too. But also like, I can't kill myself because there's still two really hard events to go as well. Or like Tim is a great example of what you're saying. He won the last two events. He just scratched the deadlift because he's like, my back kind of hurts. And if I do well, I'll get like one or two of those. Mm-hmm. So he didn't even, like that's the weird parody.
It is.
Where he's like the best at the other events, but like then this event that you think there's carryover between all of it, he's like, nah, I'm so not good at that event right now. I'm not even going to do it, which is actually kind of a smart strategy.
Yeah.
All things. Wait, oh, maybe, you know, and in hindsight, it's really tricky to know, but yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's but I agree with what you're saying. It's weird how some of the events for some of the people, or you talk about the last event, which was Stones. We get to that. Like
Well,
people
yeah.
were doing like
I mean,
40 of them.
Yes, I mean, yeah, and
It's
we'll
a
get
great
to
example.
that. But yeah,
That's
so
the perfect example.
So yeah, I guess deadlift though. Anything else noteworthy on that?
No, I mean, that was the most fun thing for me personally was the deadlift. And I just felt like I could hear the crowd and stuff. And it was just really fun. I felt like that was the most pumped up I've been lifting in, I don't know, very rarely have I ever been that excited.
Oh yeah, and I could tell, like you could, the way it was moving, and it was obvious that you were pumped up and you were feeling it. I'm like, I think Tanner could do 1,000,000 of these. Like, there's nothing.
That's what I felt like. I mean, when it got done, I'm not saying I wasn't tired, but if I had a reason, I think I could have done like 25. I don't even know. Like,
so like, you got to go out and do that
time,
again in a couple minutes.
Right.
And be like, okay, yeah, let's go.
One other thing, this is really funny. I forgot on the log press. I think it might have been my second one because I had already messed up at least one. And I heard a woman from the bleachers. I don't know who it was, but she yelled, like, as I was about ready to, before go start, say, "You have to stop holding back." And it was loud, and it was like at a point where I could hear nothing else but that. And I swear to God, it threw me off so much because it was like funny to me. And I'm at a moment when I'm trying to be so in the zone. And I just like, it caught me. It was just like, I wanted to burst out laughing in that moment. Like that you have to stop holding back. And, I just thought that was, I'm not sure who that was, but I loved the timing of that. I loved the time. I'm like, oh God, as someone that likes to say stupid things, I'm like, I really appreciate that comment and the timing of it. You have to stop holding back. Like, yes, this is someone that's in on the joke. Then the shield carry, which the shield was the mystery all weekend, right?
That was the mystery.
And everyone got to see it was the South Dakota shield, of course. And I don't know what everyone's take on the shield was. It's a bitch. That shield's kind of a bitch.
This is, if I can give the most abridged version of it, is
it
looked pretty hard until you saw Tim go, and you're like, why is that so freaking easy? And then
he was sprinting.
He just picked it up and just took off running. And it was like, what the hell is, but that is Tim. Like, that is Tim with Strongman stuff. Is the ones he's good at. He is so good
really
at.
good at it.
And I can't even think of what to compare it to. It was like he was grabbing groceries out of the car and was like, I gotta get in the house quick with these. And he just went around.
It's raining.
And around.
I better run fast.
And he just went around and around and around. It didn't even look like he was doing the same event as anyone else on that one.
Yeah, and the shield, as I hoped for, it made for awesome pictures. I see Big Sam. He's got I think that's such a cool picture when you see someone gritting it out, holding the shield, the shape like South Dakota, like
with the Massenomics
I gotta say, like,
seal on the
visually,
front.
yeah, that's everything that I had kind of pictured and hoped that it could be. Is that's what that did turn into. That I'm like, I love the look of that. The shield, or some of the real, also the spotters and loaders in general on Strongman. That they did an awesome job, and that job sucks.
Yes,
that job sucks.
Yes.
They were dragging stall mats around all day. And then Big Brad, I think, is the one that primarily got tasked with the pad man for the shield, which is that's impossible job. Like, he did awesome.
He did.
And that is that is the worst, most stressful job. That is worse than doing the events.
I was watching that one. I was sitting next to Paul and Bryce, and it was pretty quickly into that event we're watching, and I think it was Paul's like, oh my God, that is the worst job a person could ever have.
You're on edge constantly.
Yeah. And then Bryce is like, shortly later, is like, wow, I just can't get over how bad that job would suck. Like, we just couldn't overstate how terrible it looked to do that.
Yes. He did awesome though. Like, all good credit to him. Then there's people like me that do, like, I gave him no communication.
I mean, was there a legit concern that the shield would break? Like,
completely unknown.
Okay.
This is a completely custom fabricated thing, and we're dropping it on a 3/4 inch rubber stall mat, which it just has nothing but concrete underneath of it. And, you know, like when I did it, it's weighs 250 pounds, and I just dropped
Just
I didn't do
flat
this
on
on purpose. My goal was to be the most careful with this because I have the, you know,
Well, after I saw you just drop a face down, I'm like, well, everyone's got a free pass now.
That's what I was like I literally was just disgusted with myself when I did that though too. But I just like the lights went out and I'm just like, like, cause I was going good. I needed to make it just to the end of my run to tie Tim. And that's what I wanted to do just because it's like, I'm always thinking like what looks cool for the, you know, what's going to be fun and exciting for people. And I'm like, okay, I think I can just grit out making the end of this last half down there. And it just, I wouldn't say my grip slipped. I just like everything slipped. Like my body was like, nah, we're done. Yeah.
All of it.
I don't even know what I would say gave. I was like my whole everything gave. And I told Brad, I'm like, yeah, sorry about that.
He said, damn it, Brad, why did you do that?
Like, Brad, you bastard.
This is all your fault. But the shield did survive, right? I mean, the shield made it through all the events.
Yeah, it's a little, we got to minorly fix a couple things on that for it to be in full service again, if that is something that needs to be used again. I mean, it's mostly going to be a dust collector for the short term anyways, so it's just fine. And it survived through the event, and that's all I really cared about. After that, I'm like, well, we'll straighten the rest out later, but it made it through the event, which I was really happy, and it looked cool. Yeah, and there were some people that were on the pain train, where you're like, people gritting out every inch of a step. And from a strategy point, it's interesting to see some people try to reposition it mid, take it to your knees. And that is something that I'm like, I cannot do that because once I, getting back going with that thing is going to be impossible for me. I know. And also everyone grabbed it differently. Like so many people, like everyone had their hands in different spots. I still to this day am not positive what I would tell people the right thing to do.
Well, it also depends on your body size and proportions too. Like it's
right. Yeah. Like, I don't know if anyone really did it like the way I did it. Like, I don't know that anyone quite did the same thing I did because I have one arm that was just like underneath of it and that I'm not even really touching it with my hand. But then, so I'd kind of dinged up my brachialis on the log press, and I was very aware of that. And then on the shield, I guess my brachialis and my bicep, which are right next to each other, were just like so flared up from that. Like it felt like I had the pump in my tendon almost, where I'm like, God, why does my tendon feel like it's like a rubber band that's like, it's like a 3/4 inch thick rubber band right now that's just like on fire. And it just felt pump. Really bad.
That's what everyone's chasing.
It felt when I cooled down a little from the shield, I'm like, that feels really bad right now. Something in there is not quite right. Anything else on the shield though? We probably don't want to.
No, those are my takeaways from it.
Yeah. And then we moved on to the stone, which the stone battle was absolutely crazy. And especially the women's class and the big but new men's novice class was absolutely insane.
Yep. It's one of those where when you see max reps, we've seen this before in previous ones we've had, is it max reps 5 or is max reps 55? And for some people it was 55 or whatever that number was. It was a really big number.
Chris
like 34.
Mark. Yeah, Chris Mark went crazy on that, the man with 2 names, and then also Seth to pass him up at the end there. That was just insane. I mean, Colton actually did a lot of reps in that one too. Big Keith did. Everyone in the novice everyone in the big but new novice class did really well on all the events. Keith, I know it was his first strongman, and I guess can't remember if I talked to him specifically about it, but I think he kind of did well on all the events. I know, I guess he didn't get as much as he wanted on the log like a lot of people did, but the other ones I'm guessing he did quite well. On the shield even, he was like very slow and steady, and that 220-pound shield that they're doing is not light.
No.
Like, that was only 30 pounds less than what we were doing, and that thing frickin' sucks. And then the women, Megan and Lacey, had a crazy battle on the stones too, going to like 30-some also. And then in the big men class, Tim was a league above everyone else, honestly.
God.
Toby did really well. And then Tim was like just watching him do you're like, this is not hard at all.
The same thing. I was sitting next to, at this point now, I had moved over to some of the Minnesota Department of Lifter Safety guys who were sitting there actually right behind Tim. And I can't remember who said it. They go, oh, this skinny guy, we'll see how this goes. And I'm like, oh, just you wait. And then after is same thing, the very first rep, like, oh God, like you just know you're in for a long ride when you see Tim basically just underhand it right over the bar. Like there's just nothing to it. It's like picking up a softball for him. Just whoop.
Keith posted a picture of Big Chris. I assume today, wherever he's at, his forearms are still hurting from the look of that. It was fun. Everyone getting all tackied up and walking around just covered in tacky before the stone event. I put on way more tacky than I ever had.
I would imagine those stones have a lot of tacky on them after those events.
Yeah. I was the last to get to come in on stones because however the order works, and I did 5, and on every one my arm was hurting increasingly worse. And
Strongman.
Tim
I'm back.
Tim might have been getting faster on each one for all I could tell. And he was up to like 17, and like by the time I did like my second or third one, I was realizing, okay, there's literally no chance of me doing anything in this. Because what I'm really thinking is like, this is really lame and anticlimactic if I just quit.
It was giving me, the second Tim started going, I was instantly having major flashbacks of Tim and Brad going at it on the circus dumbbell for, an hour. It felt like it was just an absolute just marathon.
Yeah. So the way my arm was hurting, I didn't think I was going to catch Toby on his 10. And then I'm like realizing I'm not going to, like Tim is, nothing will stop him. No. And I'm probably doing everyone a favor if I just stop here at 5 and like, I don't get hurt and Tim can stop this madness. And, so that was the end. And I think we're the last ones done. And then it was over. Then it was like full on cleanup mode.
Oh. Then it felt like the day was actually starting. That
was the worst part of the whole weekend.
I at that point was just like, nope.
I think we got done at 6 p.m.
Yeah. And in my head, I'm just like, yep, there's no way this is all getting out of here tonight. We've gone too long. Everyone's done. Everyone's hot. Everyone's tired. Yep. But awards are going to take another hour. Yep. This stuff we're going to be messing with this tomorrow morning. And you were dead set on, you're like, no, this is going back. And we're loading stuff up. You're like, I'm taking all the, and I mean, it was awesome. Like the number of people that were like, yeah, we're going to the gym. Like you guys bailed out and just started unloading stuff. And, I was not doing anything that hard, but I was also running around like with my head cut off between awards and the booth and just everyone asking me questions. I mean, it was just like, it felt like there was 1,000 things going on at once.
Yeah, it was a madhouse. We did have a couple others to call quick.
Oh, yes.
I guess to wrap up the Strongman, let's try Big Brad here. See if we can get Big Brad on the horn. Actually, as long as we were talking about the Brad pad.
A call from Aberdeen can only mean one thing.
Brad pad.
You're looking for Brad the pad.
Brad the pad in the flesh. I don't know if you heard us talking, Brad, if you were listening live. I think maybe it looks like you were. We're trying to give you your due on having the hardest job of the weekend, I think.
I was unaware of what I was getting myself into.
That's what I was curious of, how you even got suckered into that job.
Yeah, how exactly did you end up being the guy with the pad? Because there's about a handful of you that it could have been. Did you take the initiative? Did somebody hand it to you? Did you know what you were getting into? What was the exact moment in time when you became the pad man?
Yeah, so I think Jake did it himself the first time, and then I was just happened to be sitting next to him, and he handed it to me, and I figured, well, he just wanted me to hold this, and then I became Brad the pad at that moment.
Sam wants to know if you got to take the pad home with you.
I did not get to take the pad home, but I'm thinking about buying one and just Allison comes home from work, just throw it at her, in case she drops her laptop or something.
Did you really get an advertisement from Bells of Steel for crash pads like the day later?
Oh yeah. Literally, I'm sitting at the airport, and like my first sponsored ad is Bells of Steel crash pads. Yeah, this for the same one I was throwing at you guys.
Do you have you like woken up in chills at night, like thinking thinking that you're getting chased by the shield and that you need to get the pad underneath of it? Like it's a bad recurring nightmare.
I have definitely had some. I've had some dreams. Oh yeah, the event has definitely been in my dreams.
The other funny comment, I think I told you this at the zoo, Brad. I was sitting with Paul and Bryce while this was going on, and they're like, you had one of those neck fans on, and I think everyone thought you had headphones on, and they had made the comment, oh, maybe he could hear the guys better if he took his headphones off, because they were getting the neck fan confused.
Yeah, no, just the Allison gave me her neck fan that she wears when she goes to my Highland Games events because it's usually hotter than hell out there. So, yeah, it did help a little bit. Not much, but a little.
Well, just want to say you did do really well.
Mm-hmm.
That is a really difficult job, and you did a great job. So congratulations on, I would say being an unsung hero, but really I think everyone knows how shitty it was and is trying to sing the praises of how well you did.
I appreciate it. I did actually watch that event back today while I was lifting down there in the gym, and you know what? It wasn't as bad as I remember it. Yeah, we got it. We got the pad in there, most of the time.
Yeah.
And we got better as it went on. We learned from our mistakes and we learned to communicate better. If there's a next time, I think we'll have it down to a science.
There's always a next time.
I think Tron and I said that next time we're just going to do the powerlifting because it seems less stressful.
Yeah, and competing in powerlifting is less. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think will compete next year?
I think
if there is next year, I guess we haven't covered that, but assuming there would be.
Assuming there would be, I do plan on getting my first powerlifting meet in. So
yeah,
we're just gonna send it, assuming the my master's joints can keep doing it. We'll send it.
Hey, there's all kinds of old dudes in on this. Like nobody's really old. No one's old when everyone's old.
It'd actually be funny to know what the average age of competiters was if you added
it's
them all
old.
up. Yeah.
It's older than
I think
your typical powerlifting meet.
I think
there's Tommy, you and I as mid to even me getting in later 30s, we are not old there.
Yeah, I'm actually
at a normal powerlifting meet you would be, and there you're almost like in the middle.
Caleb was probably the youngest guy in my actually no, there was one guy that was like 18, but in my flight of 15 there was like this younger guy, I think he was like 18, and then Caleb, and he's like 24, and by a lot of standards 24 is not exactly young either at a powerlifting meet, but in this case it was.
Yeah, Keith asked about the strongman. Dodzilla would have been the oldest strongman actually that we had this year. He's in his mid 40s, and then Toby's also in his 40s, and then Big Keith. Keith, are you 40 or just close to 40? You're almost 40. Yeah, 39. Well, Brad, great job. Honestly, you really did do a great job, and I appreciate you doing that job because it's fucking terrible. So good job.
I appreciate the love, guys. I appreciate it.
And is this number 12 on your Hall of Fame card?
Yo, this is number 12.
We had to make sure you got to number 12 after doing that job. So
I appreciate you giving me the layup.
Well, welcome to the Hall of Fame.
Oh, man, I've never been more excited in my entire life.
All right. Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, guys. Say.
Okay. Should we get one more of the strongman on the horn here?
Load him up.
Got one more number already ready. Let's see here. That job, I just can't understate that. I would have a lot of anxiety doing that.
Yeah, that'd be a tough one.
Now I'm hoping that this here isn't a really big international call, because we're actually going to be calling one of the Davids.
Oh yeah.
So
it's got to run
hoping that he's
through the Royal Palace before it could.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's not in the UK here or something with the king.
Oh.
Ah, Big David, is that you?
Yeah, This is me. Who's this calling from Aberdeen at 8:30 p.m.?
Oh, you don't worry. But we actually we noticed you might have lost a couple belongings here. This is the Aberdeen City Lost and Found. We're checking, and we found some spare beans on toast. Any idea who those belong to?
And a Union Jack.
Those could be mine. Yeah, those could be mine. The joke's on you. This is a British number, so you're roaming. Your phone bill is going to kill you.
Yeah, I don't like that. This is going to be an expensive call, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Big David, so you did compete in the Strongman. We actually got to compete together right along in the same class, which I thought was a lot of fun. I've never gotten to compete with a British person before.
We did. It was a big surprise. Yeah, biggest surprise of the day to see one of the hosts or both of the hosts competing, but one of the hosts competing in Strongman.
Yeah, especially like so last minute with no preparation.
Yeah, you just jumped in last second. It was awesome. Yeah.
You did well, of course. I think the most impressive moment to me, one of the things I really enjoyed seeing of the whole weekend is you on the deadlift attempting it 2 or 3 times, it not budging, and you like getting pissed maybe not pissed, you can tell me, but coming back to it and then getting a successful rep at that point.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned Big Tim skipping this event, and that was actually my plan too. Even the week before, 405 hadn't moved, so I kind of threw my toys out through the pram, the stroller, whatever, and I didn't bring my deadlift socks and I didn't bring my straps. I'm like, I'm just going to skip that event, like Big Tim's plan. And then I got to the event, and the buzz and the excitement and just wanting to maybe put on a little bit of a show. I thought I'd give it a shot.
It was a good show.
Yeah.
Seeing someone get that when it's obvious, when it's tough, that's the type of thing that makes for a good show.
Yeah, so I'm really pleased I did it. Thanks to Big Toby for lending me straps because like I said, I didn't have mine. But yeah, it was fun, and it was really the crowd and just the atmosphere that did that.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Tommy, I told David a couple times I didn't realize he's taller in person than what I thought.
I think I said that to him too, I believe.
Okay, kind of a tall guy over there.
I guess that's a compliment, I guess. Yeah, that was kind of the fun thing. I may have been on another similarly themed podcast earlier today, and one of my
sister
feedbacks
podcast, yeah.
The only other podcast. One of my main feedbacks about me, you guys in person. I know most of you. I know most of your faces. I know most of your personalities, I guess. But seeing some of the, especially the more extreme body types that there are in a lifting adjacent group, was definitely fun. Yeah, Tommy was definitely thicker, a little thicker than he looks on screen in real life. Yeah, and a few others for sure. But yeah,
I really like the phrasing "extreme body types."
That's a nice way of saying the way we all look.
Yeah. I was actually a little bit disappointed. I mean, I've seen Big Trey in person before a couple times, but after seeing Big Tyler early in the day, Big Trey walking in wasn't super impressive. Sorry Trey, but Tyler is a huge man.
Tyler's bigger than Trey. Like, just to put it
right,
blunt, blank. Like, Tyler is a large man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely. What was your favorite part of the weekend? Your first time here at the Lift Hard Live Easy Classic?
Yeah, I think I mean, competing was certainly the most exciting, the most fun, but just walking into Pounders, walking into your house, walking into the OD, and seeing people in person for the first time, but knowing them, right? Already knowing them. It was just a really fun group and a fun way to spend a weekend. Yeah.
It is a really fun and if you think about it, really weird. All these people, like, even, so all the people I met like half of them a year before, but then this year again, there's still another half that I'm like, I know who they are, and I've probably listened to them talk for 2 hours on another podcast even and probably watched their memes and their discourse.
Watched their memes, read hundreds of their comments.
4 years. Right. And like I actually know this person, but have yet never talked to them in my life. It is a weird thing. Like it doesn't feel weird, but if I think about it, it is a weird, not typical scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can really just jump, there's no small talk, no introduction. You just
just go right into the jokes.
Business.
Be like, we don't have time for the like pleasantries. Let's just get to the fun stuff.
Yeah. It's definitely strange when you think about it, but it feels really natural. So that was awesome.
I'm pumped you made the trip.
Yes.
I loved bragging about having an English competitor this year. So we have to next year. I'm really hoping we get maybe an Australian competitor, or how we can continue to increase our geographic footprint on this.
Yeah, glad I could help.
Yes, excellent. Well, well done in the strongman also too. It was fun competing with you and watching.
Thank you, and well done to you wherever you ended up finishing.
Not on the podium. I didn't even.
Must have
I
scratched.
knew I
off
wasn't
on
there,
a
so I didn't even stay
technicality.
for the award ceremony. I was so mad about not making it. I'm like, I don't want to hang out with these guys anymore.
Screw these guys.
Yes. What is does this make 11 for you? Are you one shy of the Hall of Fame?
This makes 11. So yeah, I guess this weekend I'm doing the backlog.
Okay.
Wrapping that up.
Well, finish it up so we can get you that Hall of Fame cup.
I'll work on it.
All right. Thanks, Big David.
Thanks, Big David.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Tommy, I got one more number here
One
that
more
we better
loaded
call
up.
because I think it's one more power lifter just to maybe we'll see about any of his. It was a first timer, so I kind of do like hearing from the first timers to hear what their takeaway was. These old veterans kind of know what to expect, but we're going to try and give Big Andrew, we'll leave it at Big Andrew. We'll try and give Big Andrew a ring here.
Hello.
Big Andrew, is that you?
Yeah, I thought this was a big cigar guy giving me a call here.
For anyone that doesn't know, I'm a pretty big cigar guy these days.
I think we all know now, yeah.
There's also about 9 clips of you saying that as well, Tan. I had to cut some of them out because it was just said so many times.
I've sort of remember that. You get it. Sometimes you let the cigars go straight to your head. Big Andrew, first time here in Western Northeast South Dakota, first time in the Lift Hard, Live Easy Classic. You competed full power. Was it your first powerlifting meet ever?
It was my first powerlifting meet ever.
So what I would ask you is, I hear crew and some others making this comment sometimes, like maybe there's a thought like I wouldn't want that to be my first powerlifting meet. What would your take on this being your first powerlifting meet be?
Oh yeah, it was great. This is exactly what I would want for my first powerlifting meet. Right. Even though I had some failures, it still was a big win, I would say.
You said some failures, so like which did some of the lifts not go as you intended and some did?
Yeah, we just won't talk about bench. We'll say that my road for next year is the road to redemption. Let's call it that.
Sometimes that's all right to have something.
Gotta have a little theme to keep you going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's fun though. But I agree with, obviously, of course I agree though. Like I think that this is kind of the perfect first meet for someone because, I mean, I don't know. I guess you haven't done the warm up room thing and stuff.
Me and
before,
Andrew were fellow Flight Deck 1.
Okay,
warm
you
up
were Flight
guys.
Deck 1.
Yeah, I think
Flight Deck 1, Flight B guys. So
I think we pretty much warmed up on every lift together, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
and that was somewhat surreal.
So you had to deal with this guy all day, huh, Andrew?
I'm like Arnold
this
in
old son
Pumping
of a
Iron. I'm
bitch.
just sabotaging everyone. I'm hiding their towels.
Oh, you didn't see Tommy messing with your weights on the bench press
after
warm-up?
you left, I had to raise all the weights.
Remember that we were not fully aware that we were using a squat bar until Tanner came over.
Yeah.
Well, and Dylan said, he's like, yeah, that's a squat bar.
I can't get that through my head.
Yes, it is.
That was like my first victory of the day. I'm like, okay, things can feel a little. I guess that means
this
it's
is 10
okay.
pounds heavier.
Everything was a little heavier. That's fine.
Yeah.
So you're obviously a California guy. What was your favorite part about the trip? Maybe aside from the competing, then what did you enjoy?
I would say getting to meet everybody and hanging out. One of the things that I think was the most special was going into the actual gym. Like I said before, it just, from the moment I walked in, it just felt very like at home, I guess. And it was just like, it wasn't weird or anything. It was just like, all right, and let's just lift.
Yeah. And that's what I would want it to be like. Like, that's exactly what I would hope that it's like for everyone that comes, that it's like, yeah, I already, like we just talked about with David, I already know these guys and I already know this place. Like, I've seen enough stuff and heard enough stuff. Like, like you said, it's shit. That's what I would like it to feel like for everyone, that they're like, this is a place for me, even though I haven't actually been here before. It sure seems like I have.
Yeah, it definitely did feel like that.
Yeah. It was awesome. You were in the pretty late night zoo crew then too on Saturday night, weren't you?
Yeah. We closed that place down.
It got pretty hot and heavy in the patio towards the end of the
patio
night.
was just a popping place.
Yeah, people were popping their clothes off. It was
there was Big Caleb was doing strip teases for everyone back there. Yeah, that's true.
A couple of big cigar guys out there just, living the high life.
The cigars and were just I smoked multiple cigars on Saturday night. I smoked cumulatively more cigar on Saturday night than the rest of my life combined.
Oh gosh, I had my first one in like 20 years. And
okay.
I think I can go another 20 years.
It sounds like you're kind of a big cigar guy now.
That's what you start saying, and the next thing you know, you're having 10 in a night.
It's one thing. It's funny. Like, I talked to my wife, like, review days after here, like, the experiences, and I'm curious, like, who'd you get to talk to, like, because she likes meeting everyone, and she's like, like David, for example. She's like, yeah, I got to talk to David for a while. He was really nice. And I'm just people kind of in my mind just grilling her of people that I know she'd find interesting and stuff. And I'm like, did you get to talk to Kevin much? He works for NASA and helps at the Arnold's and stuff. And she's like, no, I feel like I didn't, but barely get to talk to him. And I'm like, that's a bummer. He's cool. And then I'm like, what about Big Andrew from California? He does cool stuff. And you're not, what's your job title? I know that you're not a geologist. That's not correct.
No,
but,
I'm an archaeologist.
Archaeologist, yeah. And I'm like, really interesting. Did you get to talk to him about archaeology or anything like that? And she's like, no, I didn't. And then she's like bummed about it. So now you're probably on her hit list for next year next time. Yeah.
Me and Andrew and Big Mofo were talking a lot about like the Warp Tour and like early 2000s punk music. I had a lot of fun doing that.
Nice. That's cool. That's fun. Those are the things that are just really cool. So we are obviously super pumped you made it. Is this number 12 on the Hall of Fame checklist?
12 will be this Sunday.
Okay, yeah.
When I hit my 2 years this Sunday. And so as long as my credit card doesn't get
I'm going to be watching it pretty closely to make sure you don't try and pull a fast one on to decline that payment just beforehand. So assuming that will be, then congratulations on the Hall of Fame.
Well done.
Thank you. I'm very happy that I have beaten Mofo.
Yes. He's listening live right now, so he's probably cursing at a screen as we speak. Awesome. Well, we obviously appreciate you coming. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys putting it on. You guys, it was wonderful. Thank you.
All right, We'll see you next time we see you.
Thanks, Big Andrew.
All right, thanks. All right, bye.
That's the last one, Tommy.
Cool beans. Cool beans.
Worldwide cool beans there.
Cool beans for everyone all around. I mean, we could call 1,000 people and stuff, but
yeah,
that's I just wanted to get a little candid stuff from some of the people that were there. But that did bring us to Saturday. We made it to the zoo. Actually, we were talking about the cleanup. I picked up the last trailer, the fucking Jake will be listening somewhere.
Just
also, first of all, I gotta say, everyone that helped
load
stuff up at the end of it, I'm so appreciative of it because it sucks so much. And it is like an enormous burden that I'm just like so worried about. Like,
it's just like the last thing you want to
how
be doing.
how are we going to get all this equipment back into the gym? You know, Connor and Grant step up, help so much. Anthony's brother, Tron and Zach. I mean, I know there's a ton of other people helping other places. Yeah, Kendall is another one I need to mention there. Those guys helping me with equipment. I can't put a
price.
So helpful. Like I just would have been just so totally fucked without those guys. So I really am thankful for that, because that is a bitch too. That was like 2.5 hours of just working really freaking hard, like just hard, shitty work. And I'm just, you know, we loaded my Scance posted a picture of my pickup.
Yeah, and it
was loaded
low.
to the nuts. Yeah, she was talk about low and slow. That trip to the gym on that was low. We had a lot of equipment on there, and it was not strapped down the way it probably should be. So it was
just improvise.
Very cautious trip, but that sucks. That sucks. And I know you were there, kind of facilitating everything, because there was still a ton of stuff to be done that, you know, we're just like, the equipment is still just one piece of the puzzle at that point. Honestly, you know, there's an entire arena.
There was
our booth,
tables,
for one thing,
chairs, booths,
all our Massenomics booth belongings,
everywhere.
You know?
Just, you think
it's
you're
basically
done.
the Massenomics store mobile version when we have a booth like that. Like, I mean, it is like the fulfillment center on wheels that we have to get then back to my house.
There was a lot going on. It was busy,
and luckily, I'm sure, you know, there's a lot of people helping there. Thank Christ,
there was.
And
like, I was never also why very long, because
Dave is
tearing down
trying
the rest of his stuff.
Yeah. So we got everything, and then the last thing was Zach and Jake, and you guys got my trailer out of there, and then Jake, I think, went on hook it from Zach's car, and it broke I was using a cinder block as a jack stand basically for the trailer, and it snapped it, and the trailer was down all the way to the like
in the mud,
into the mud basically. And I was like, I really just want to get this trailer out of here, because then everything's gone from the OD, and I want it at home also, because it's got all of our Massenomics belongings sitting in it, so I don't really want it, you know, it's like races night at the fairgrounds, and there's just like strange people. I'm like, I just want this at home where I feel good about it. And the way you load a trailer like that, typically, to like for making sure it all fits, is you put everything towards the front, and like that's what we usually always do. And I not even having to look at the trailer, I already know what it looks like in the trailer. Like it's all in the front, and I go to try and pick that up once. You know, I brought a new block to put it on, and I go to try to pick it up, and I'm like, I cannot budge this right now. Like, I cannot do it. And I tried it another time. I'm like, oh, fuck, it might as well, this might weigh 10,000 pounds. Like, it might as well. And like, I was just about ready to leave for the night. And I'm like, one more try. I'm going to like give this, like, I got one more try. And I'm even thinking, I know I'm a strong guy. I just did a bunch of strong stuff. I can do this. I can pick this fucking thing up out of the mud just one time and get this home tonight. And I'm not lying. I took everything I had. It was an RPE 10 trailer pickup, and I got it up onto the block, and I was like, that, like, for as good as I felt during the deadlift, I was like, that is my crowning achievement for the night, is getting this up out of the mud and onto this jack stand so I can get out of here tonight.
When I went to your house the next day and you're like, oh yeah, I loaded up the I thought for sure the first thing we're going to do is drive out to the OD and load that thing onto the hitch.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I got it. I was in shock when you said that.
That was the strongest thing I did that weekend. I promise that, like that. And then, so I got done. I think I got home at like 8:30 PM, and I took the fastest shower of my life. And I had called Mary, you know, like 30 minutes before. I'm like, hey, I should be back soon. If I get this trailer, you be ready, because I want to go. I want to be there now. I want to be there 30 minutes ago. You know, I don't want to miss another second. And I still hadn't had a beer. I had not had a second to drink a beer. And I'm like, I want a beer bad, really bad. So I quick one. And then what time did you get to the zoo?
I think I got there at 9.
Okay, so we probably got there
like
about
the same time. And what made me feel a little better, I thought I was so late. And when I was walking up, me, Ryan, and Caleb actually went together. My wife had been there for like 2 hours. She got there like 7 or 7:30. She was just there chilling.
Yeah.
But I was walking by.
So was there people there at 7 and stuff?
No. She called. She's like, we're the only. There's literally no one else here.
Okay.
We're the only ones here. And then like an hour later,
I
it's the
think
same
feel
thing.
like people went earlier last year.
Well, I think because
it got done earlier.
Yeah. But
Right.
I was thinking I was very late until we parked in the parking lot by the zoo and we're walking up by Dempsey's and I looked and everyone was still eating at Dempsey's and I thought, okay, I'm sitting just fine.
So we got there at about probably a good time.
We must have walked in at almost the same time as each other.
Right. And it was a fun night.
Oh, yeah.
I had so much fun.
It
was a blast.
Going to a bar. I mean, first of all, it's the zoo. And I think the last time I was there was probably last year for this.
Definitely
and
was for me, yeah.
You know every person in there and you're just bouncing from person to person and it just gets more crazy as it goes. I didn't have my voice. My voice was completely gone. I couldn't even actually that might be the worst I've ever lost my voice in my life. I'm listening back to the clips and it's like painful listening to me talk.
Yeah, I probably was in the same boat. I was just trying to tell everyone thanks because I was so I was feeling so happy at the end of that night and just like so glad that everyone was there. It's just that's the type of thing you're like, if this could never end.
I know.
Somehow that would be the
sit here and drink forever.
Just keep this party going forever.
And, there's just so many dumb things that happen
the
at
Texas
the zoo.
power bombs.
Yeah, just down in the Texas power bomb shots and
Dylan. We were down at the shop bar and Dylan paid the DJ to play Slow Ride.
Oh yeah,
Foghat, and it was so much fun,
dude. I have so many clips of that of us just actually there were so many clips of that, and then we have a picture of like the 12 shots lined up, and all it is my arm sticking out, and everyone's clinging them together, and then it gets to Matt, and Matt has a singlet on the dance floor, and there's just
Matt.
The more I watch more of the clips, the stupider it gets because there's so much going on all the time.
It was a blast. I just also other notes. I'm just looking at Sam. Big Sam did do the strongman and the powerlifting both, which is insane. I am going to make a note of this. It's too much to talk about in this episode. I'm making a note right now, but to be continued. Next week's episode, I want to talk about Sam's warm up routine. I'm adding that right now to Asana. We will be discussing Sam's warm up routine, which is that is a madman. Is just stay tuned. Everyone's going to want to hear about how Big Sam warms up for lifting.
Yep, not going to miss that. Otherwise, the
anything
zoo
else on the zoo party.
Just eventually, everyone ends up on the patio because you can smoke cigars, whatever.
All
on the
us
patio.
cigar guys get together out on the patio.
I was probably 50-50 the whole night. We'd be out on the patio for a half hour, come in for a half hour, go out. I mean, we kept bouncing back, but there was one point where later on in the night when I walked out to the patio and the entire patio was just smoke. It was all was out there and then Dylan comes with his drawstring bag. It never even dawned on me that he has this backpack on all night.
Right.
I don't even think like, oh, what's going on there? And all of a sudden it's like the moment he was waiting for, that thing comes out and a jar of cigars. Just there's cigars going everywhere all of a sudden.
The Grand Cru Royales, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was going wild.
That was fun. What a night.
Yep.
Too many fun memories to have already halfway forgotten about that even, actually. I think I'll be excited to see some of the footage on YouTube.
Give you a little recap, a little mental refresher.
And like I said, my wife and I got a Uber or a Lyft back, and we made him go through McDonald's drive-through. At that point, I got 2 McGriddles. And having not eaten for 14 hours at that point,
that'll do it.
They were about what I needed. And then Sunday morning, you came over and we unloaded the trailer.
Yep.
Of the Massenomics booth trailer. And then I stopped at the gym. Barefoot actually brought me those shoes at the gym because I didn't have time or forgot about it Shelby and Ryan were down at the gym. A whole bunch of people down at the gym on Sunday doing strongman and hanging out and lifting.
Yeah, I saw the videos. It looked like everyone was a packed house. It looked like everyone was having a good time. Unfortunately, there was a birthday party I had to get back to Sioux Falls for, so unfortunately I missed out on some of the fun.
And then the frickin' for the people flying home, the nightmarish travel.
God,
was I
that
can only
sounded
imagine.
So bad.
It sucks.
Some people, there's a few people that spent more time
out of everyone's control, but like what a terrible coincidence of timing.
We did talk about though, like if that glitch had happened a day earlier, that basically would have wiped out the meet.
We would have been screwed.
Yeah,
we would have been totally screwed. Big Sam said he spent 72 hours extra in Aberdeen and 54 hours in Minneapolis, or maybe 72 hours
in Aberdeen total.
In Aberdeen, but also spent 54 hours in Minneapolis. So all
and not Minneapolis, the Minneapolis airport.
yeah.
Oh,
right.
It's brutal.
That sucks. That's kind of the weekend in a nutshell, right?
I mean, much of a nutshell as over 2 hours is.
Yeah, not really a nutshell.
It was. I mean, but there's just so much. I mean, we could talk about it for 4 more hours, easy. But
right.
Between the videos and everything else coming out, you'll get more of a feel for it. It was so much fun, though.
Well, and Big Keith's question, which this is the question. If there is a follow up question,
it's actually amazing.
We wrapped it up.
We have not even said one thing to each other about this yet, have we?
Like, completely true statement right now. Tommy and I have not discussed for a second the possibility of the LHLE3, and I do like that moniker for it. But the Lift Hard Live Easy 3, we have not talked about it at all. Don't know how prepared I am to talk that much about it yet, because it is
there's something about being like, well, this one doesn't even really feel like it's done yet. How can I talk about the next one?
Right. I mean, if you're gonna pin me down and make me tell you one thing or another, I mean, yeah, I don't know how we can not do it.
I know.
But like, if I'm being completely honest, also, here's part of what my concern starts to become about it. Year 1 was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We brought on all these crew. It was great. Year 2, even better. It's bigger. We bring in more crew. Bunch of people are here for their second time. Bunch of people are here for the first. But I have some thought, like, do we ever get to a point where everyone's like, I guess I did it already?
Yeah, or I've done it 2 or 3 times.
Right.
I'm
good.
okay taking a year or 2 off.
And I mean, there's always people, like, there's enough people
locally,
that, like,
or
there's all the
couple mile area.
And like, you just see all these people that, like, in the crew that comment, oh gosh, I still couldn't get there this year. Next year is the year. So there's, there's going to be as many new people as there was this year. There'll probably be that many new people next year rotating in and out.
Right. And there's also people like Big Eddie that didn't make it this year, but does he make it next year? So then it's like, oh, he's back. And then like, that's just, I mean, there probably always is a stream of people that can make it work, but I 100%, it's the classic thing of just, you think, how do you ever outdo something? Like, how do you just always outdo something?
You know, the Strongman Classic that we did at the fair, on me, obviously a much smaller scale than this, but at the time it didn't feel like it. At the time it felt like this thing that we're growing, but it kind of got to the point where I just thought, nothing left for us on
and then
that.
Also
we
what happened
did
there is the people we had to go through from logistics made life hell. Like, they just made things worse and worse.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess we got to do it. And like, it is also like the funnest weekend of my life. It is awesome. It is so much. This is not a complaint, because it's like, I kind of live for it in a way, but just being real, it is so much work. It is just like, I can't even describe the amount of work. It's
the number of
almost unbearable, the amount of work.
The number of just upfront hours in stuff before I've even done anything. And then actually it's like, whoo, that's done. And I'm like, oh no, I'm up till like 11:30 last night editing video. And it's like,
it's never really done.
Also, we have videos to talk about this for the next 3 weeks. Like, this isn't actually done for another month still.
But it is like, and it's a huge deal for our company and for Massenomics.
Yes.
And everyone's so appreciative of it. But I mean, also just there again, from a selfish point of view, it's so much fun for myself personally too. It'd be like, I would feel like I'm missing out on this thing personally, even outside of Massenomics, because I'm just like, and I swear to God, I made a meme about it, but the other day it's like, I'm out mowing my yard again, and I'm like, oh, feels kind of boring around here now, knowing like 200 of my good buddies aren't all going to come hang out with me. Like, cause like all summer, like, I'm kind of thinking about that. It's like a thing in the back of my mind where I'm like, yeah, soon it's,
just around the corner,
everyone's going to come. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. And then when it's over, it's like, oh,
back to normal life.
Yeah. It's like, that's like, kind of miss all of that now too. So it's actually weird. There's a lot of thoughts and things, just a number of thoughts in every direction on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's, I feel like between doing this and the Arnold a few times now, my brain is mentally prepared more for what happens after you're done. Like, the first time we did this and also the first time we did the Arnold, it's like, how does anything in life ever top that? And you're like, well, just wait. The next year we'll top that, and the next year we'll top that. And Yeah, it's just you're just riding such a high that when it's done, it's just like the wind is out from your sails, and it's just like, how do I just back to normal life, I guess.
Like he said, need to hire movers for that next year. I honestly don't think there's any price you could pay. Like you would have to pay people so much money, like an actual moving company, like to take all that like out, like the Atlas Stones, for example. They'd be like, yeah, no, like we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Like, there is no, some of that stuff is almost not a job that you can hire people to do.
Well, part of the problem with some of that too is that at the end of the day, you still sort of need to be telling people where things go a little bit, but
yeah, you kind of have to direct traffic. Yeah, some of that stuff, and it just relies on people helping too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no way to if people don't help, then none of it works.
Yeah.
Like without all the people that are willing to help, then the whole thing crumbles. Honestly,
yes, it does.
I got a lot of. I talked about all the cans.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot of cans to get to in the future weeks. I also just have a couple things because they're sitting right in front of me. Big Quinn Cunningham gave me this Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office coin.
Oh, that's cool.
So I've got that. That's cool. This is absolutely insane. Tron.
Oh, yes.
Got this book. This was originally printed in 1879, and it is by William Blakey. This is a reproduct. This is not.
It's a reprint.
Original printed, but I'll put this up so you can hopefully see it. But the title of the book is, I got to read this again. How to Get Strong and How to Stay So. He found this book, and hopefully you can read it there. How to Get Strong and How to Stay So. Written in 1879, essentially the 1879 version of How to Get Strong, How to Stay Strong, and How to Use Your Strength. That
when
is nuts.
When I saw that at your house,
nothing we've ever done is original, is it?
No, nothing is. When I saw that at your house, I just could not believe it. And just time is a flat circle, right?
I haven't read it yet. He said he read some of it. I actually am wanting to read. I do want to see.
Do you know what it's actually even about?
No. He gave me a little synopsis of what he thought, and I just can't remember. No. But like one of the chapters, forearm work. Exercises for the triceps muscle.
It actually is an
to
exercise
strengthen
book.
and develop the hand, to enlarge and strengthen the front of the chest, to broaden and deepen the chest itself. Daily work for children, exercises for young men, exercise for women, exercise for businessmen, daily exercise for consumptives. I don't know what that term means. Is it something racist?
I don't know. One of the according to Amazon, it's one of the first ever books written on the subject of training for strength.
Maybe we both need to read this and do a book cover review.
A must have in your physical culture library.
Yeah.
Interesting.
How to Get Strong and How to Stay So. So thank you, Tron. Also just digging this up. But the name of this is just, I love it.
Yeah, that is good.
This is crazy.
And the fact that it looks that old too.
Yeah, I love it. Got other things here, all the stickers we talked about and all that stuff. Quick note, we talked about Murph winning best female lifter. Big Matthias Cash won best male lifter. And then for the mask awards, Big Tyler Thompson won the mask trophy. Big Cody won one of the masks. Big Lacey won one of the masks. And then Big Seth won one of the special masks. And then the coveted wooden plate awards.
Mm-hmm.
Help me out here. Strongest couple was Ryan and Leah Anderson.
Yep.
Silliest Goose was Ryan Johnson, Jacked and Ginger.
Yep.
Seth won best package.
Mm-hmm. Jess.
Brian's choice. We'll save that for last because what's the other one? There's one other one, right?
Most injured.
Most injured. Quinn Cunningham, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hip replacement surgery. Mm-hmm. Stole that one out from underneath of Ryan.
Correct.
And then the most coveted award of the weekend, Brian's Choice Award, went to Big Chest Cesny.
Mm-hmm.
And I missed all of that,
Oh,
but I assume those people were excited.
Every one of those, because they're just such wild card awards. Everyone's caught off guard.
Nobody knows that. Like when it's you, you're like, oh, it's me.
Yeah, like what did I do to get this?
Yeah.
You know, it's So giving.
So
those
was
out
like
is a ton of
Katie
fun.
reading those off, or Dave, or you?
No,
or
I presented those. I presented all those. They're like, do your thing. And so,
yeah,
that was fun.
I would have liked to have seen that, but.
Yep, that was.
It might be on the live stream. Maybe I can go look at that still.
Actually, I never even thought to look. I don't know if any of that is.
Yeah. What else? Anything else on the Lift Hard Live Easy Classic weekend?
Oh, I mean, there's definitely other things, but it's just hard to remember everything because it's such a wild, crazy, and fun weekend.
Well, this episode was brought to us by our fine friends over at Juggernaut AI. You can check them out at juggernautai.app. It was the programming that Tommy used to bring himself
that
back
a lot of people
there were using, right? And you used it to bring yourself back to the platform after a 6-year hiatus and hitting numbers that you haven't touched in 6 years. If anything, your squat had gone so well that
it actually did go too well.
Was just your peak was peaking so hard.
And I hit a bench PR, so yeah.
An all-time meet bench PR, as a matter of fact. So that's awesome. I guess the proof is right in the pudding. And yeah, there's probably 10, 20, 30, 40 people there at that meet that were using Juggernaut AI.
And the bridge block is firing up next week, baby.
Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking about starting a bridge block Juggernaut AI next week too, as a matter of fact.
I forgot. Sometime. Looked at that thing. Whew. You put in work on a bridge block. I forgot about that.
I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Oh,
I think it'd be
something
fun.
About pause squats with 90-second breaks, followed by deadlift, followed by like 8 exercises. I'm like, this is straight up conditioning now.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And you can use Juggernaut AI for all those things also. You check them out at juggernautai.app. That's where you use discount code Massenomics. It'll save you 10% for the lifetime of that membership.
This episode is also brought to you by our fine friends over at Swisslink.com. Swisslink is home to some of the finest military issue surplus from armed forces around the world. Right now, if you hop on to Swisslink, I'm going to be honest with you, they have stuff from countries and military words that I can't even say because I don't know how these things work. They have everything from coats, parkas, jackets, sweaters, pants, shorts, boots, camping gear, classic wool blankets. If you're like Tanner and you need the upgrade to the finest fuel can available, they got Wavian fuel cans. They got Wavian water cans. They got basically anything you could ever think of for your military surplus needs. So if you head on over to Swisslink.com, and while you're there, use code MASS, and you can save, what's the magic number here? You can save 15% on your first purchase at Swisslink.com. Use code MASS. Code MASS, Swisslink.com, saves you 15%. Thank you, Swisslink.
Oh, Big Mini and Big Scants both made comments here. Also, my mom and my aunt were hanging around all weekend and got to get in on the parties, and they were in at the zoo this year too and having a blast. So I know my mom really looks forward to this weekend. Also, she'd probably be mad at me if we didn't do this again in the future. So just another person to add to the list, that just more added pressure needing to make this a fun weekend.
Yes.
Oh no. Look at Scant's picture to Discord.
Scants.
Yeah.
You hound dog, you.
Yeah. At the zoo. What a fun picture though. Like, isn't that like if you describe that picture out loud?
Scant's standing there, he's looking up, and your mom and your aunt are both giving him kisses on the cheek, which is
at
hilarious.
The zoo bar.
At the zoo, yes. And he's got his lift silkies on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Excellent. That's it. It was awesome. Yes. I guess there's no real way to thank everyone.
Yeah.
But
just again, thank you to everyone that competed, visited, spectated, bought stuff, supported in any way. It's
Thursday night.
Weekend.
I'm still trying to catch up.
Oh, I'm so tired. I just can't. I can't get caught up. I'm so tired.
I'm like that every day. Like I'm that tired all the time.
Yeah.
No, I guess that's just what I'm like now.
I was born tired.
Molded by it. First time I wasn't tired from the Lifty Hard Live Easy Classic, I was a man. By that time, it's blinding. That's what I feel like, though. Honestly, it's
know,
crazy.
I know.
I am so glad that everyone came. I'm glad that it really makes it feel nice when everyone comes together.
I know. It's all
when everyone comes together all at the same time. That just makes you feel good.
Doesn't get any better than that.
Than everyone coming all at once. Check out Massenomics YouTube. We got more content coming out. It should be some fun videos on that. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Check out our merchandise. We still have meat tees, event tees with the hockey mask on them and the barbell going through, the Lift Hard, Live Easy event tees. We've got some of those as of this recording. We got a few of the event silly pints and a few of the snapback hats, which the hats are awesome.
Yeah, they turned out really good.
I love those hats look cool, people wearing those around. And then we have 4 pairs of our squats shorts left. So you're probably screwed on those.
Sold like hotcakes.
Yeah. Is that kind of all the stuff, Tommy?
I think so.
Yeah, we could talk about it for 5 hours, but we just can't do that. Can't do it.
We could, but we can't.
Do it. We can't. So, Tommy, where do they find you at?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
You can follow me at Tanner_Baird, but please just make sure to follow Massenomics at Massenomics. We'll see you next year for Lift Hard, Live Easy Classic 3.
See you.